Are you ready for total jungle knowledge? Are you ready to dominate every other jungler you run into and reach the rank of your dreams as fast as possible? And really understand which fundamentals are the best in order to carry, win, and climb? The thing is, you actually need to understand the fundamentals one step at a time to get yourself from low elo all the way up to high elo. In this video, basically it will be like a mini jungle course giving you everything you need to know to climb each step of the way and answer the specific question I always get: how do I actually carry in my MMR? Let's begin. Let's start off with low elo, shall we? Viego here against a Nocturne. Now, people are arguing, well, if it's just the items that changed, what has happened to jungle fundamentals? Those systems didn't shift. Aha. It's entirely about how you play around your item spikes that allows you as a jungler to snowball. So let's couple that, the new items, with our jungle strategies and see the best way to climb for the end of season 14 so you can reach your dreams before season 15. And if you're feeling a little old, good, because you can join me. So Nocturne over here on his red, we have your top lane trader ready. That's what I wanted to click on. And the Mordekaiser has killed your top laner. Now remember, no matter what MMR you're in, whether you be silver or a challenger, if your top laner decides to go level 1 and die, and you're pathing down, it's not your fault. It's not your responsibility to deal with their problems. Now here, obviously, this is really, really good for silver, and this is the thing that people don't understand. Okay, we'll get to this in a second. This ward that you might assume is placed in like at least Diamond Plus, Emerald Plus, is actually placed a lot in low elo as well, because it's just something that's become a habit for everybody, which is great, because 3 years ago when I made the video on that ward, no one was doing it, and a couple people were talking about it and such things. So here the Mordekaiser decides, hey, you know what? I'm gonna push this wave out, and then if Nocturne rotates, I'll just go fisting. And Nocturne's like, well, I have the new lethal tempo, ha 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 ha, let me kill you. Now, this is obviously a solid and rational move, especially if the guy is low HP, and he's overcommitting, he's overpushing. If you have a free kill, please take it. But if you're a champion who does not, please don't. Because the Nocturne here, yes, he's compromised, but there's a huge benefit to this, right? And that's the following. To go through Virkayu.gg, not only do I have a free jungle improvement resource, I also have a dedicated program with jungle video courses, jungle coaching, coaching classes, a jungle VOD library, special weekly content you'll see nowhere else. All of this available through a premium jungle Discord, which is highly active, a huge community that help each other climb using my jungle program and courses. As we have seen by everybody hitting their peak rank goals in Split 1 and Split 2 of Season 14 as fast as possible. So to climb faster than everybody you know and to jungle div every game you play, head to Virkayu.gg or click the link in the description below. From Nocturne's perspective, he goes to his red now. He watches this. He finishes off his red. Here we go, come on. Finish it, takes a while. Now he sees the Viego. So this gives him a lot of information about where Viego's gonna go next. And that allows this play to be made a little bit more intelligently. And baseline tracking, even in silver, is very important, but you look at this, you're going for this, you got 8 CS, the Viego sees you, the Viego decides, look, let me just carry on with sequencing, the Nocturne gets the kill and I will go to his Krugs. The Nocturne has total peace of mind, knowing that his bottom side camps are still up. So basic tracking, 8 CS, red plus Krugs, he's on the Raptors, I see him walk to this side, I know he's gonna go here. All of this for me is on the bottom side and alive. The Viego could have decided to just go for those vertical jungling situations, but I don't also hate what he did here, which was, let me just focus on my full clear. There's nothing I can do about this situation. If I decide to do this, and my laners are all dying, killing, or basing, I'm instituting a bit of randomness, right? Whereas right now I have a guaranteed full clear and a guaranteed scuttle, and Nocturne will be behind in his overall clearing. Decides to go for the scuttle first before going back to the blue side. I call that the outside in rule. It's where you decide to focus on the thing furthest from your safest place. So in this particular case, our safest place is our jungle, and this thing is further out. Dragon is further out, and like his jungle is further out. So you're choosing to do the scuttle and then fall back to your blue side, because if, for example, the Viego wanted to double scuttle he wouldn't have that. Whereas if you decided to do your blue Gromp Wolves and they go for the scuttle, guess what? You would be there, you're fighting, and who knows what happens there. So it's just a good, easy way to make sure you get the stuff. Now, Garen, of course, hasn't bought yet. We do miss our W. Decisions are all fine and good, well and good and nice, but if you don't have any sense of mechanics, if your mechanics are going to let you down in multiple rotations in silver, you're going to notice a lot more of a problem. Obviously, in this particular case, Viego has got the lethal tempo, not something we necessarily want to promote. stick with your Conqueror, best way to go. There are niche ways to play, but overall, you're seeing here the shift in the meta, not early game, you know, nothing's really changed early game, but when you have one item, when you have two items and you get less stats and someone has more HP, you're gonna need to hit more skill shots over time. So where you might have been able to kill a lot of people before, very, very quickly, now it's gonna take you this much longer, so instead of hitting one W, you gotta hit two Ws. So it will reward those who have better mechanics. Now in this particular situation, we have the Viego doing a very smart thing, which is, all right guys, I'm gonna go down the river here. Nocturne should in theory be on the bottom side, because he obviously was delayed back to base. He started on the Raptors. Let me go ahead and snack those up. The Twitch mid lane, right, Twitch mid lane, is shoving this out after having 2 kills himself. The Nocturne here says, okay, well, let me try and do something about this. And now, we're level 4 and he's level 6. The Twitch has his flash, which we burn. We're okay with that. But now we see that our, well, you can't help your mid lane overcommitting, but it is such as life. Look, in this particular situation as Nocturne, I'm gonna be straight with you. I don't mind the Raptors into the red, into the collapse here, into this, into the reset, into this, right? Like, that's fine. I understand why you did that. I, in my champions, prefer not to do that because you lose too much experience advantage. Now, this gank here is interesting because we know that Viego got the kill. He's gonna be coming on down. He could counter jungle me. He could also just go back to base and go here. If you're looking at this crash, this Twitch is going to hit a very, very early level 6 because he has 2 kills. Your Vlad's level 4. Immediately in your mind, it's like, okay, look, can I go for this and burn his flash and get out? The whole goal is to get out. However, I'm not a huge fan of forcing the issue too much in this situation. If you know my content, you know I'm thinking a lot more about, look, if Viego's here and the show's going down, can I snack this up? Perhaps get some vision down, counter jungle, and maybe translate that into bot lane game. But at the very least, I want to get some vision down, hit the plant, take the Raptors away. If he takes my Raptors, c'est la vie, it is what it is. And then I can obviously go back to base and control top quadrant and carry on with my game plan. So right here, I think there is a justification for going there to burn the flash. But now you're trusting that your Vlad is not going to do exactly that, right? The Vlad stepped up, he shouldn't have, he died. Can you trust your laners to not do these kinds of things? Never. So I always basically tell low elo people, focus a little bit more on your own econ gain, your own reality, because it's going to be more reliable for you to actually carry games. Now, in this particular situation, the rotation to the top lane kill, as I said, I get it. I personally don't always do this, but I get it. Has compromised your sequencing entirely. The Viego now comes at a base and goes straight for the Raptors. I'm not a fan of this Raptor snack. I think in this particular case, it's a little bit silly. Most people do this. They come out of base and they do this, especially in silver. Now what? If you're silver, low elo, gold, what are you doing now? You going to dragon? You're going down to your Krugs? You're going up to the top side for the grubs? What are you doing? You put yourself in a position where 3 decisions have to be, you have to make one of 3 decisions versus going from Krugs into the Raptors. And now you can decide to cut into contest and fist and fight for these. You can loop into the dragon should this be something you want to give up. Or you can always look to gank before or after your Krugs if this is looking volatile. And then you have a nice logical way to flow up the map. Whereas here now it's like, well, I can, you know, it's a little janky, my pathing. And you don't want janky pathing. Now, the Viego, basically, he stuck to his full clear. He didn't instigate vertical jungling when he saw the Nocturne top side. He benefited his team by ganking the lane afterwards, counter jungled the Nocturne's Raptors one time, and now decides to go for the dragon. I'm not a huge fan of this. This is something people are just blindly doing, especially in low elo. You guys do full clear, you get a gank, you counter jungle, you get decent, and then you just go do a dragon. You know, the dragon is... Look, this goes for laners as well as basically anybody, but please understand that you can't step back up into people. Like the Garen's trying to greed the kill and dies. The Vlad's trying to greed the kill and dies. Oh no, Viego. And in the meantime, the Nocturne, again, the problem we have with the mid lane issue is he didn't recognize the level disadvantage. Here again, level 6. You're looking at a 1 HP Garen. For me, you look at this lane, you see 35 CS, 19 CS. This is doomed for me. Now, when it comes to ganking, losing lanes and such things, I'd much rather you dedicate your time to yourself, your own econ, and then snowballing an actual winning lane. At this point, you got to choose which one of your lanes you think is most reliable. Vladimir? Hell no. Garen? Hell no. The most volatile? Bot lane. Immobile bot lane. With a Nocturne and a Lulu and a Jinx. that I could snowball. So he's shifted to the wrong side. Now in the meantime, the Viego's decided, look, I'm just going to do the dragon. I don't believe there was any high advanced tracking for this. So as a silver jungler, just say, look, I'm going to come down base, do my Krugs, do my Raptors. You're going to see the Nocturne up here doing this while you finish. And now you can decide, well, you know what? Actually, I think the Grubs would be better for my comp. And I would prefer to do that because I got an RNG Scuttle here. So I see this. I'm going to cut up dead Nocturne. Ha ha ha. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And now you can decide to cut down, cut here, gank this in any way. You can loop back here. Obviously, at this point, we should base, but it's more like, what am I looking at? Really, anything you want is Viego. And that's what's missed by the Nocturne. He's forcing ganks level 4. He's compromised his experience. So at the beginning, when you heard me say, like, okay, you rotated for the Mordekaiser, the payoff for me grunting like that is this. Significantly behind in experience, significantly behind in camps. And again, his Grump just spawned now at 647. If you did a regular full clear, that spawned over a minute sooner, right? And that's just experience that's left on the board. Now, the Viego, unfortunately for me, goes Raptors, Dragon, and Base. For a purpose. There's no reason to go Raptors, Dragon, and Base. Yeah, Krug's up. We did not have counter jungling up, but I don't expect you to fully track like these kind of advanced timers where people do random stuff. Just keep your basics full clear. Gank around your ult, take your scuttles, control your objectives. All of this is good. But yeah, you can see that the Viego lost a lot of tempo advantage over the Nocturne. And now you're saying, well, he's still beating the Nocturne. Well, yes, but it's more the Nocturne's beating himself. Because he is. He is beating himself. Viego, on the other hand, if you just go Krugs, Raptors, Grubs, boom, 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 the Nocturne might go topside, botside, who cares? You're level 6. Now you can actually force something bot lane. You can counter game bot lane. You can gank mid lane and snowball it. Instead, though, the Viego's in the same position where you're running away from people you don't want to be running away from. You're not currently gaining any experience advantage. And that's the problem. Like, why are we here? You see? He's lost his purpose. And that's why I said the dragon wasn't an intelligent sort of like, hey, you know, I'm showing up. It was, I feel like doing dragon now. And the problem is when you jungle like that, you throw your leads. And in low elo, the best advantage is guaranteed income and baseline. So, to recap, out of base into these things. If you want to prioritize the dragon, do it when the Nocturne dies top lane. I wouldn't because I know I've got an RNG Scuttle, 3 fresh grubs, a full quadrant to take. I can cut down. If Nocturne comes down here and ults bot lane, I can counter gank it. If Nocturne decides to solo this dragon, I can just kill him because I have 6 and he doesn't. If he goes topside, then I can do all those things anyway. And you don't lose anything topside because you've controlled your topside. So the Viego decided to Raptors, Dragon, Base, Grubs, and coin flip and die. That's horrific. And that's where a lot of you lose your advantages. So you might think, well, the Nocturne's jungling badly. He is. You might think he's forcing ganks. He is. But what can you do about that as Viego if you're dying to him or not fully sequencing your camps? And the best thing to realize is that if you have an advantage, you've got to use it, but it doesn't necessarily mean you need to run and punch him in the face. It can just mean that you maintain a 20 to 30 CS gap and kill him strategically rather than just randomly. And while you don't need to have advanced tracking, you know, these wards do help when you see them move down. I would anticipate the Nocturne maybe try something bottom lane if he has his ult up. Obviously here he doesn't, but he could very easily decide to rotate. Instead he doesn't. Always keep your eyes up for this though, guys. Especially if you're the Nocturne there. Now Viego's like, well, yes, now I can do my quadrant. Now you can do your quadrant. It's a little late for all of that, so there's just a lack of fluidity to the farming. You're forcing the ganks. And how we bring this into the modern meta of split 3 is that your item spikes at 1 and 2 will be weaker. Pretty much most champions, right? They will be weaker. So at 3 items, you're still going to be good. But the fights that you're going to be taking at 1 and 2 items, you might need an extra auto, an extra spell rotation. So that power that you might assume you have, you don't. Thus, just think a little bit more intelligently about the fights you take, okay? Especially with Lethal Tempo now. That guy gets that ramp up the damage, that attack speed steroid. That's not what Nocturnes were getting before. Well, they were before it was removed, and then Lethal was removed, and now they brought it back, and he gets it again. I mean, obviously, Viego has it as well, but you got your E, you got an attack speed steroid already, you might as well Conquer, fully stack it, amplify your ultimate with the extra AD, amplify all your attack damage, attack speed with extra attack damage from your E and the Conquer synergy, so, you know. Now, the Nocturne is trying very dearly to fog a war gap onto the Twitch here, which honestly I kind of respect a little bit because he's going to try things. There it is. There's the Nocturne going in. We force the flash out, and we get the kill. That's actually very well executed. And now the Viego's on the bottom side. And I like that he's looking for a lane gank. Well, the gold junglers look for lane ganks. But really, his sequencing and general pathway jungling is just off, right? Oof, there's a hook. We can play off of that. There's a 10 CC. We have our Qs, we have auto attacks, we have the ult execute. We can become, well, we a little too soon there, but we can become the Lulu now, and that's fine, you know? We know the Nocturne went up, so we have this full real estate. However, again, you're seeing so much waffling, right? Like, junglers just waddling around. Whoa, nice dodge there. Junglers waddling, look at the both of them. Like, kind of just moving around without a real purpose, without real tracking, without real sequencing. There's the cleanse, obviously. And we'll snack that one up as well. We'll heal. Will we survive? We do. Vlad TP's in. Okay. Okay. All right. I didn't think it was going to go that way. I thought there might be a little bit of a different outcome, but, you know, kudos. Now, Nocturne, though, gets free grubs. So you can see the big problem in this MMR range is there's not a lot of doubling down. Now, obviously, we're going to try and double down on the dragon here, except we're not. Excuse me, hit the microphone. We're thinking about more just translating this into even more kills, but we'll have AC now, you have HP. If you do have an item, go back to base. This year's results base, a little roams, the thresh hooks, you get the benefit from that. Nocturne's going to get free objectives. Right? The whole concept is flow. And the best thing I can advise for all low elo junglers in this particular meta is we are still in the balance of farming, fisting, and fighting. You cannot AFK, right? You cannot AFK farm in this meta. You cannot AFK force gank in this meta. You got to understand where level advantages are and item advantages are. And you got to understand that floating on, just leave. Leave. Like, there's got to be a snappiness to, hey, I got to give it up. Okay, well, all of what happened, don't do that. Literally none of it. The obsession over dragons isn't healthy. Compromises your pathing. The obsession over forcing objectives also isn't healthy, but that's for anybody. It's more, can I track very basically, press tab, counter CS, where was he, where is he going next, and then control your own sequencing and around that, play around your ult, play around objectives in an intelligent way. But if this is something you cannot do, coin flip or fight over, leave, it's okay. The idea should at least be, look, I've taken 3 grubs, maybe I should do something about getting the next 3. We took the first dragon and I got the 3 grubs, so I'm in a pretty good position. I don't think Nocturne's going to be able to do both of these, let alone get the grubs and then sort of rotate over and get kills. Yet the Viego just gave him all of that, right? So the Nocturne's been putting himself in positions where he should not be rewarded, and yet he is. Now, he's 4-2-0, he's not played very, very well, but it's more a testament to the Viego's inability to really harness the lead he got. And that's what I want you to visualize if you're a silver jungler. I got a lead. It doesn't mean I need to run at him. Sometimes doing nothing can keep your lead. And I don't mean doing nothing, it just means sequencing, playing around ult, and then flowing to objectives and lane ganks and counter ganks. Now, Nocturne decides to start this sucker up. Again, the Viego is too obsessed with this dragon. And again, I mentioned the idea of flow, right? Sequencing well. You can see that's missing here. You can see very much with the Viego. Look at this, waffling again. Is Nocturne going to out bot lane? Is Nocturne going to show bot lane? Should I be here? Instead of just having the courage of your convictions. Okay, look, I need to full sequence up. They're going to get the dragon because they're Briar cannot contest it. Guys, please be careful. Ping, ping, ping. Please be careful. I'm going to go do this. No doubt in silver, your bot lane going to die to the Nocturne ult. So you say, well, that sucks. Now you can counter jungle and dive. Now you can just do the Herald if this is not up. Most likely you can counter jungle and do something, and if not, still do the Herald. You've got all of this top side to do 1, 2, 3, 4 things if your bot lane decides to die here, as a Viego, right? Because you got winning lanes. So your job is to make sure that the Nocturne doesn't get freebies. And here, the Nocturne, looking for the Twitch again. The Twitch is respecting that a little bit, which is, you know, obvious, but there's no reason to sit there and wait. There's just too much waffling, too much waiting, not enough sequencing, not enough counter jungling, not enough farming. And the Nocturne will be able to rotate back over here whenever he wants. So don't sit and wait. Do your farming and keep your eyes up. If you see something, move over and then ult in, right? But keep your feet moving all the time. Now, you might not do that a lot in Silver, where you're just continuously moving in a good way, but it's the idea. Don't waffle in a place and wait 30 seconds for something to happen. Can I move towards a place I want to go and take some camps, take an objective, counter gank if necessary, use my ult? Yes, okay. Just don't stand still. Just as a mindset. You will get it wrong, no stress. It's okay to get it wrong. Now, in this particular case, Twitch has run to the bottom lane when the Herald is up. I always hate when mid laners do that, but they're going to. We're going to go all in on the Viego here. Sorry, the Vladimir. Woo, there it is. Nocturne's ulting. Down here. Obviously, Viego wouldn't know that, right? Because you don't see anything in the darkness, but this guy makes a pick on the Twitch coming back up the river. Okay, 5-2-0. The CS is super low across the board, though. And I do feel like there is some counter jungling we could have done. I understand why he went for the mid lane here, but again, now this is a drawn-out fight. You're just taking too much time to do this, and it's costing you the ability to counter jungle, snowball, and drop heralds. So for low elo, I would prefer you to be... This is going to sound horrible, but I would prefer you to be silver and bronze and iron a little bit longer and get all of these concepts down better, because when you get gold, you're going to shoot through gold and platinum quicker. Versus doing some kind of cheat strategy or something a little bit silly on champions and builds, and then you get out of silver very quickly, but you get to gold and you realize your jungling isn't good enough to climb in this MMR range as players get better. So I'd rather you learn these fundamentals, these concepts, now get used to them. Because gold and platinum, the way I explain the fundamentals of jungling builds directly on this. So the next game, the next MMR that will be timestamped, you'll see what I mean. Because now we're going to go into a different level of jungling, and you're going to need to understand just a little bit about controlling your sequence, playing around your ult, playing for the right objective, not forcing dragons and basing off to 2 camps or 1 camp, you know? So here we drop the Herald. We sneak on up on the bottom lane. Jinx is fed, and again, as the Nocturne there, you see the Jinx is the one that actually ended up being reliable. The champion is very, very strong. The Mordekaiser is actually doing more than some Master level Mordekaisers do, which is leave their damn lane and use their advantage around the map. So that's good. Now, from the Nocturne's perspective, what I like to do in these situations is try and push somewhere else. Like, you can hold here, you can try do something here, but really, I like to apply pressure in other phases of the map. Now, in this particular case, these turrets are dead already, but if you can basically say, look, there's nothing we can do down here, sorry guys, unlucky. You can always look to push and kill and really shove in to these other turrets in these counter jungling zones. I call it the lopsided rule because you're kind of tilting the bucket of the macro, right? You're tilting it. So while bottom lane push up here, you're pushing down here. So you're just tilting it this way, which is good. Whereas if you just kind of let them do this and you sit here, then your whole bucket of water is just going to be drained and empty, and you're not going to have a lot of juice left, H2O left to actually win the game. And here in this situation, you know, it's okay to kind of hold a little bit, but I still prefer applying pressure somewhere else or pulling the trigger in a fight. And if you're too weak to do that, then that's a question for yourself in the early game. Why am I too weak to do anything in this particular situation? Let's try. Now, obviously, you could just be doing his camps, right? He could be doing his camps. He does have ult available. There was an overcommitment from the Twitch. He flashes, but the Mordekaiser is very, very fed. The Twitch is strong. We kill the Twitch with the Vladimir. The problem is the Mordekaiser is too strong for me here. I'm not ready to fight this guy, especially seeing he supports this, which, you know, not the best, not the best build, but pressing tab and realizing what people have is important. So for me, if you're holding this and there's no opportunity for the lopsided rule, which I mentioned, which kind of looked like it was here, just take your camp, control the Scuttle Crab, look for these things, and assess logically and dynamically, okay, can I actually rotate to this at all? If no, then push another wave out. Go down here and split push a little bit. Force Viego to basically come to you. Force someone to deal with you. Fall back, buy. Now you're strong enough. You might have to give up this dragon, but that's okay because, you know, you're in a situation where you're losing by 4K gold. It's okay to give things up. Just look for the pressure on the map. And here, by doing this and then sitting here, ulting in and dying, you got no pressure, and you're dead. And that's just really what you want to avoid. Now, the coaching isn't don't die, but the concept is that the underlying concept is there. You know, if you're not dead, you can do a lot of stuff. And if you're too weak to fight, don't fight, right? The biggest thing. People look like they're inting and soft inting all the time because they just die once, they die twice, they die 3 times. Like, okay, listen. If you died the first 3 times, you're definitely unlikely to win the 4th time. Maybe you should relax a little bit until you catch up. People don't understand this rule. So, gonna go on down here, out of base. See, Mortis pushed this in here. Viego's gonna show up over in this situation. If you're the Viego here, just give this up, man. Just give it up, it's gone. Just like, this is all a waste of time if you're Viego, right? Could have just done your Krugs. You know they're all down there. Shove this out. You know Nocturne just uses ultimate. Go and take these top side camps here. Punch this a little bit if you want with the Mordekaiser if he's able to do that. Take this turret. Fall back to all of this, right? Lopsided rule, but for Viego, it's swapped over. Because as soon as you accept that this dragon as being 5-man and you can do nothing about it, the more you can get resources somewhere else. And this is not just for silver, this is for everybody. So stop forcing the 50-50s. If your team want to do it, that's fine. Because if you're pushing the map open with the Mordekaiser, you're going to be in a good situation. Really. But we've just not, we don't have 2 items in 90 minutes. It's outrageous. It's too slow. Way too slow. And trust me, the Mord would be more than happy to go and do stuff with you up here. Just not something that is, it's not something that anybody's looking at. Nocturne then decides to ult into the Twitch. Vladimir's down here as well. Viego's like, well, I better show up. And again, this is the wrong call. If this guy overcommits and dies 2v1, what does that mean for you? Oh, it means you should be barreling down mid lane right now. Absolutely barreling down mid lane. And you're not. You're rotating and wasting time. You could have farmed the whole topside quadrant, push turrets. Damage to turrets is the biggest thing if you're low elo. Please make sure you're having damage to turrets. I guarantee you, every game you win, 9 times out of 10 or 95 times out of 100, the games you win, you will do more damage to turrets than the enemy jungler if you have a good climbing win rate. And you can say, well, surely if people are losing, they're not hitting the turrets. Not true. Just showed you multiple situations where both Viego and the Nocturne can hit the turret. Doesn't mean you're going to do a lot of it, it just means you're going to do some. And that pressure does exist. So, the Lulu's out of position, we make the pick, and it looks like everyone is just going to absolutely keep doing the same thing for a couple minutes until we get to a Baron fight. Real LCS gaming here. Nice 100 Thieves game we got going on. Sorry, too soon? It's never too soon for comedy. Flanking from the Twitch in the back line kills the Jinx, and then the Nocturne's like, okay, well, I can kill the Twitch. And obviously, we got the Viego dead on the backside here, 4v3. The Mordekaiser is the big bully. Garen kills the Ashe because she walks into melee range. And it's just another coin flip fight. And everything I've explained to you is for 2 reasons. Everything in this video, in this first game, is for 2 reasons. The first one, if you are in a game where you just have to team fight and coin flip fights, much like this one, all right, as you can see, then you want to be as strong as possible. And if you're not farming, you're standing still too much, and you're not maximizing your golden experience just as a baseline, you're going to be useless in these fights, and you're not going to control them, and you're relying on your teammates. That's the worst thing possible. Secondly, if these fights are going against a comp where you don't actually want to fight, as we go for the Dragon vs Baron trade, Mordekaiser is dead, so, might as well. Then a little too late. Then the macro you've done to push, if you're the Nocturne, or the macro you've done to push is the Viego, that will open up the map such that you can avoid those fights because you always have someone rotating to you, collapsing in on you. You understand? Like, those are the 2 kind of ideas that you have in low elo for winning games. But the most important thing is keep your farm up, while you're on your ultimate, don't force objectives, don't cut it for no particular reason, react to some counter jungling, something we'll talk more about in gold to really step it up. But if you do that in silver, and basically you have these advantages. I got someone in the club, the Virkayu GG club, a couple times now. They've all gone from low elo. Some of them now emerald. Some of them have just gotten up to gold for the first time. We've got people climbing using everything I've said here. It does work, but it does require you to be a bit more like this, rather than having like cheese strategies and things like that. So, Baron is snacked up. Let's see what we got going on for the rest of this game. Mordekaiser's trapped and out of position, and again, everyone's just going to rotate. See, the Vlad is now splitting on the bottom side a little bit, and he has TP, but he hasn't used it because he's not interested in this fight. Vlad's not the best split pusher in the world. Blue team make a pick here and rotate onto this. This is fine, right? So now, you're saying, well, didn't you say to split push? Well, yes, if you don't want to do those fights, you physically can't. So basically, if I'm a Nocturne, and for example, say I'm down here, and I see all of this, I'm like, well, I can't rotate. Go and push a little bit. You guys have Baron. Go and use the Baron here and threaten this inhib. I guarantee you probably 3 base and silver, 2 push, doesn't really matter. 3 grabs a piece, you might be able to get an inhib before they even recognize it. right? So that's where you can kind of decide. Do we fight as red team, or do we try and split a little bit and apply pressure? Only you can answer that in the game state you're in with the champion you're in. But did he just do that? Did he just base and TP to tier 2? Aye. Alright, well, in the meantime, Mordekaiser keeps bonking this away. Jinx ults, Nocturne ults, getting a little bit strong here. We obviously have X-Plate. We have the Hex Drinker, and Jinx has hit the ult. Vlad is running away with his pool against the Viego, who really hasn't done much, actually. But look at the CS. He's 30 CS up. He's pushed the map a little bit more. And that's allowing him to be down only 800 gold against a Nocturne, who's 836. Does add up. Adds up. Nevertheless, turrets are taken, and basically I envision it's going to come down to the same thing here. Look, the Mordekaiser is the guy throwing this game 100%, but at the same time, at this particular stage, you're looking at it and going, well, Mord, you're fed. I'm fed as Viego. Why is everyone kind of just farming camps? You know, you could be pushing other places and looking for these dynamic fights. Nocturne then decides that we've just made a pick. Why don't I put myself in the stupidest position ever? That's the final lesson here. If you have numbers advantage and you're actually winning the game and coming back in the game, why would you walk into the Fog of War Shadow of Mordor, where Simba is not meant to go, and get eviscerated, neutralize the advantage you have for numbers, and now Vlad goes back to base? I mean, look, if you're a jungler, if you're a laner, these principles apply. One is Mordekaiser, don't face check the Fog of War and die, especially with a crucial dragon coming up when you're free winning the game. Two, if you're on Nocturne and someone does that and you're able to make the pick, don't then do exactly what the Mordekaiser did and die. Secondly, if you are the jungler or anybody and you have a 4v4 and you can win it because you're Vladimir scaling, don't go back to base and let your team get 4v3'd. Those are very basic things. And I'm animated about it because it happens all the way up until pro. People just, they don't communicate enough. But even in high elo, you got to recognize it as best you can. But regardless, it looks like it just came down to regular low elo stat checking. Not enough proper fighting, not enough proper engage, not enough proper macro. And thus, this is just a very silverish, bronzish game. You want to carry this? You do everything we just said. Everything we just said. You do it repeatedly. You get good at it. And you look for these picks. This is what I'm talking about here. See. Blue team. Now, at this point, it's okay to hover and look for a team fight. Okay, look, there's no... The Baron is up. We're looking for the Baron pick. Mordekaiser hits a beautiful pick onto the Lulu. The cleanse is bursted from the Jinx because of the Ash ult. Viego is the problem. You do not need to be doing Wolves here. This is it. Here. There's no reason for Wolves. We're grouping, we're going to fight, we're going to win, or we're going to do Baron. Make a pick and do Baron, right? If we kill everyone, and we'll end. There's no reason to be on Dragon. However, it's a good job that he is rotating. Nocturne then decides to go backline here, even though his Garen is doing the same thing as Viego. And that's the problem. That's the problem right there. The Nocturne goes way too deep, not recognizing Garen's not in the picture. The Viego, while he was out of position, rotated directly to support his team. So a lot of lessons here for numbers advantage picks and so on. But if you see Garen, top side in the Krugs, and you see your Jinx and Lulu get picked off, you ping everyone off, you try let nobody die. You don't go in and force a fight. You say, guys, back up, back up, back up, back up. That's it. And there you go. A lot of what not to do in this particular game. The Viego did get 10-4-6 in the end, but I love what not to do. We're going to jump to gold now, all right, and see a little bit more what we should be doing to take these strategies to the next MMR. All right, in this one, we are going to jump straight into gold and figure out what we can do. First and foremost, you don't need a leash on Fiddle, but what we can do now to take our silver strategies and fundamentals, early, mid, and late game, and translate that to jungle denial. By that I mean, how can we as Fiddle, as Volibear, prevent the enemy jungler from achieving their goals while achieving our own? And at the same time, how do we figure out which is the best win condition for us and snowball that? Because ultimately, to get through silver, which you've now done and you're in gold, congratulations, you've got some baseline tracking, you've got an understanding of sequencing, you understand a little bit about team fighting, but now we need to step that up, right? That pace needs to go up, and the understanding that, look, you might have losing lanes, you might have gargoyles as teammates, but you often can create that second player you want to carry games with you. You need to 2v8 a lot of the time, and it's in your control who that is. Is it the Aatrox if you're the Volibear? Is it the Zoe if you're the Fiddlesticks? Who is it? And thinking about the game like that will allow you a little bit more to figure out which is the lane I actually want to snowball. So the Fiddle, he's going to go to the mid lane. We have here Vladimir, obviously kind of popular late with the W max, but they've nerfed that. Oh look, he just hits level 3, and that's something that's very, very important to understand here. There's a Drowsy. That's actually a very, very well executed gank. Now, in Silver, you're not going to notice ganks be executed this well. And what I mean by that is, most of you are looking at this going, well, that's normal, right? Like, this is a good gank, yes. But at the same time, how many times do you see junglers in Silver and Bronze run up to this lane, int it, or just mess it up? Quite a lot. And obviously, just to mention it here, you know, you're looking at a 233 into the mid lane, and that's why this is so important to talk about. I just wanted to mention this because if you're a little slow in your red quadrant into this gank, there's going to be a level 3 spike coming forth. Here's the experience bar on the bottom left for the Vlad. You can see that. And Zoe's a little bit further away. She's been zoned. Maybe minions were missed through whatever reason. It doesn't really matter, okay? But you can see here that your Zoe has been compromised. But the Zoe doesn't need level 3. The Vlad does. So you kind of want to avoid the pool game. Unfortunately, he gets it. So we try and hit our silence. We baited that. Now we get the point click fear. She hits her sleepy trouble bubble. And basically everyone can have full on finish off with Qs, auto attacks, and sucky sucks. And beautifully done. Now there's a failed effigy over the wall. Wave's in a great position. And the problem with this strategy in this meta is the following. You have not telegraphed everything you've done. The Volibear knows that you've telegraphed everything you've done. The Volibear has actually decided, instead of invading you and maybe doing something about that, he wants to gank the top lane to take away that gank. Let's see how she does. Well, he does, rather. The Alawi is more what I was referencing because that champ is very strong, yes. Now you're looking at this and going, but Virkayu, it's an Alawi. Exactly. I really hate ganking this champion unless it's really guaranteed or I got level 6. Also, it's a big, fat, juicy wave. So what the Volibear's options are is, what there are, basically, is, hey, I've seen the Fiddle, I know where he's going. If I invade him, maybe I can kill him. Wherever the champion is, maybe I can kill him, right? The jungle denial and gold. Think about that. How can I not suppress the Fiddle? The problem is, Zoe's right here, and this guy is shoving up the wave over here, which means you're going to get collapsed upon on the blue and the grump if you choose to do this invade. Thus, you can simply finish off your full clear much quicker than Fiddlesticks. And if this is something that you don't actually want to gank, you look at the wave, you look at the state, you look at the champion, you're like, no. And go back to base, right? Maybe you can try for the scuttle. You can do that for sure, you know, depending on your clear speed. But if I got like 20 seconds to spare and like finishing at 310 and scuttle's at 330, base, and then just control the scuttle. Why? Because the Fiddle is going to be going topside. It's 2:59 on the clock, 3 minutes, right? You know he's going to be doing this quadrant, looking at this, and hovering for this. So if I can 330 scuttle, and I don't have time to base, then I'm looking to gank the Zoe if she overstays, double scuttle, right? Bear that in mind. But if I'm playing something that it can clear fast, base, down, scuttle, because Fiddle's still topside, you're going to get the reset and the reset. If you can take away those camps, and I did this just yesterday actually against someone who, I believe it was a Nocturne. He did the blue side quadrant, did the Raptors cut up for the gank, right, 16 CS. I knew he was going to fall back to these things and the Scuttle Crab in a weird way because of the timers. I literally just gave it to him, and I stole the respawn of these camps. And then when he comes down through the ward, oh, nothing. Now where is he? Gotta be topside. But there's no camps respawning yet, so we have to gank again. And now you can set up counter ganks, and this is when you get really advanced stuff. But really for gold, think about it in 2 steps. Can I invade due to lane pride to deny him? No. Right, then we full clear, reassess, and then maybe I can deny through counter jungling. All right? So that's the 2 ways you can think about it. Obviously, the third way is, you know, can I counter gank the situation? But you know, that's what the Fiddlesticks is thinking about. Here he starts this up. He's rotating up here right now. He sees the Volibear getting low. He's moving up here to try something. There's Aatrox. There's a fear. All we're doing is basically straight up. Well, I mean, at this point, you want to use a W, but there's stunts from the Volibear, knockout from the Aatrox. Not a place where you want to, as a Fiddlesticks, walk up and park it and press W because it can be interrupted. You're not going to get the missing HP damage, proc or the heal based upon the damage you do. So from Fiddle's perspective here, now that we've laid the groundwork for this gold game, just finish your quadrant, man. You watch this, you're like, oh, Volibear's not abusing the advantage he has. And now you can finish your quadrant, take the Scuttle Crab, repeat gank the mid lane, double scuttle, maybe you can gank the bottom lane, loop, base, and go straight for grubbies. If you need that to be slowed down, you can replay that moment. But that's really what the Fiddlesticks should have been looking for. And again, Compared to the silver game, what are we thinking about more so here, guys? We're thinking about suppressing and countering the enemy jungle's existence. Denying what they want to do, taking what they actually do, and saying, okay, so I expected them to do A, now they're doing B. What can I do about that? And that's how you want to start to think in this MMR range. So now the Fiddle sees his mid lane gank here. He has obviously based against as well with his death. Zoe hasn't based, she's overstayed, but it is what it is. There's the pool. There's the fear. There's the sucky. Guys got no sums. Woo! It's a little bit close, but it's nice. Okay, look at this particular stage, right? Please, my gank. Good job. Push the wave. Your Zoe's got no TP. This guy is screwed. Just push the wave. Absorb the experience yourself. It's great. You don't need to worry about the bottom scuttle. 99% that's gone because the Volibear obviously would have killed you and taken. See, look, she's pinging. She said, oh. I spoke too soon. Good job, Fiddlesticks, and anybody who actually pushes the wave. You shouldn't need to be pinged, but you were. Now, the Volley Baba, you don't need to hold this wave. You see, I understand the desire to hold this wave. Look. Zoe? I don't like any of this. This is just, you are not a bitch from Season 2, Alistar, no itemization running around the map ganking. No to this. Honestly, no. What did we learn in the silver coaching sequence? Go on down, you take this, gank this. Although most likely in this particular case, you can take this. Start this up if you got the prior. Gank the bottom lane. It doesn't matter. Just look, this guy has screwed his own lane. He's been ganked, it happens. The worst thing you can do here is not completely screw your own time, but 6 minutes 13, and he just dinged level 5. That is 1 minute and 20 seconds later than he could have been level 5. Think about that. 1 minute, 20 seconds. That's a lot. That's over half the respawn time on camps. Now imagine a jungler who watched the first part of this video in silver and who's got the sequencing down and now has just done a whole sequence while you've been walking around getting level 4 that late. I mean, it's a massive difference. This path thing here is a little bit wonky, but you got to be careful with it. Obviously, you want to make sure you got a scanner, but Fiddlesticks does not have that luxury. You see, like, they're going too far in here, and he should have committed with them, but he's just too slow on it. Volibear now will get free grubs, and that's why I'm not a fan of this gank here on Fiddle, on these kinds of champions. I don't really care if he succeeds. I don't really want a results-based scenario. You're a champion that now has a lead of the Volibear. He's delayed his level 5 spike. Please look for that level 6 and use it. And if Zoe is the one you want to 2v8 with, ult this lane, gank this lane. If you think the Jhin can be helped, gank this lane with your ultimate, right? It's way better. So at this particular stage, they don't actually get anything. He doesn't get anything, and Volibear is getting free grubs. Now, from Volibear's perspective, you see this guy go up. What I could foresee is this guy just going for the dragon or for my blue. Therefore, boom, boom. It's for free, and this is for free. And of course, you can gank this one here. Volibear, in my opinion, there we go. Not in my opinion. Yeah. Let's look back there a little bit. What I was going to say is, Volibear should only do this when he hits level 6. I wanted to see his experience bar here because he got a bit of catch-up from the grubbies. He does ding 6 from the minion. All right, cool. Can you kill her at all? And honestly, this is the problem. This lane is so tough to gank. Now, you can kill her with an Aatrox Volibear, but people have to play it correctly. Because CC chains, full committal, avoid getting rip-tied. You know, at the same time, if you think this is something, look, Virkayu, you're like, I'm not comfortable ganking this. My Aatrox is clearly outmatched. He's down 20 CS almost already. Like, he did get a kill, but what do I do? What do I do? You got the kill against the Fiddle. Don't worry about this. The Volibear has chosen the wrong lane to try and spend time on to snowball with. Deny the Fiddle, because you know the Fiddle is down here now. You saw him, right? You saw this guy down here. You know he's doing all of this weird stuff. You can see this right here. I'm taking a whole quadrant, man. I'm taking a whole quadrant, and then I might be rotating rather than diving the top lane here. I might be rotating to help the Vladimir get the Zoe back in here. Look at this, look at this, look at this. If you're doing the Grump and the Wolves right now, through denial, through jungle denial, you're primed here for an ult. And we don't need to talk about his runes, because the runes are just, you know, there is a viability to it. It kind of does work, but PTA, please. Watch my latest video on this channel for the best build. For Fiddle too, not the best build, but that's a wonky build, but if you're good, you'll get it going. Counter jungle, deny, get the free kill on the Zoe here, with your ult if you need to. Push this wave out. See the Fiddlesticks coin flipping. Everybody, look at this. Everybody low. And if you don't need your ultimate here for whatever reason, right now you can ult. They just run through the river with your PTA Celerity Waterwalking. Oh man. Oh man. So even if I did everything that the Volibear did in this game incorrectly, what you need to know in gold is that there's always that window for you to deny the enemy jungler and come back. Snack these babies up. Snack this, snack this. See the gankable scenario. If there's nothing else for you to do, for sure take Scuttle, but don't waste too much time here. This was a triple kill cleanup. If you decided to leave this, kill the Zoe, look at this rotate kill, now you do the dragon yourself, now you fall back to this quadrant. You didn't really deny as much through counter jungling, but you denied his ganking move and you destroyed him. Instead, it's 3-1-1, and you stole nothing. You got 3 grubs, and you only have 5 CS. And he was down here for how long? 200 years, it feels like? And you haven't really used your ult with a punch, and now Fiddlesticks is getting that benefit. He's not good. And you didn't offset the Fiddlesticks ganks in the mid lane. Vlad's a great one I could 2v8 with him. If I'm a Volibear, I really want to snowball that Vladimir really heavy. Why are we starting this up? We see the Fiddlesticks here. Now you got the Senna Seraphine. They're going to scale innately. They're going to be good later. Sure, if I can gank them, that's great, but I don't really need to invest as much. I really want to get the Vlad going, in my opinion. So, Zoe's fed. Zoe rotates. Fiddlesticks has no ult. He decides to face check this dragon for some particular reason. Leona does hit the Omega stun. Volibear is going to bounce and peel that Jhin ult. Jhin does a lot of damage. Champion is a little bit broken. We're seeing this in Worlds and also in the data. 30% pick rate. Can you believe it? And now, this is not what I mean. Right? So what have I been meaning so far with jungle denial? If the map dictates it as a possibility, I can invade you and take care of business. If the map doesn't, and I can deny you through counter jungling, hey, nice. If I can counter gank you with a triple kill, hey, nice. But the Fiddlesticks here sees a Volibear on the dragon is like, I gotta deny this dragon. Well, why? Why? Because the worst case scenario for you, you die. You give shutdowns and everybody dies. And that's exactly what happened. Now, Volibear here obviously uses ult. He's gonna get the stun. That was the slowest Volibear. Actually, he didn't even get to the animation auto attack cancel on his W. Here we auto attack W. Not very difficult, but like the fluidity is signs of a good Volibear. Didn't even get the W off. Did burn the flash though. Take that. We'll take it. Now, Fiddlesticks here. It goes back and forth, doesn't it? Doesn't it? This is really a game of both junglers have kind of done some good things. Both junglers have made incorrect decisions with regards to their time investment, their ganks, and their jungle denial. And hopefully you can see through the explanations and the alternatives what better strategies you have as a jungler, combined with the silver sequencing techniques we talked about in the previous chapter of this video, that would allow you to just be in a 1v9 carry state. But it's always good to try and set up that 2v8, because having someone reliable on your team, whether they're good or not is irrelevant, right? If they just have more stats, they usually do good things in this MMR range. Vlad, look at already, you know, the ganks are what's making this quite difficult, and Zoe lives. And, you know, such is life. Sucky. One more. Oh, there's the heal. Oh, auto attack cancel. Now he hits the plant. Volibear in the meantime. When you see this, there it is. Why are you doing your Raptors? Of all things on this earth, why are you doing your own camps that are always going to be there afterwards? The Fiddlesticks has made a commitment, has made a play, and is now moving on down. He does have his ult coming up again shortly. The Volibear has now decided to clean up the Zoe after doing Raptors, in which case he should have done that beforehand. This is always a tough one for Volibear. It's why I don't invest too much time into Zoe's unless I have ult up or flash up, and I can use it properly. His has just come up, so maybe, but I don't think I need to force that either in this particular case. If you can clean up the mid lane kill, please go ahead and do so. Otherwise, full quadrant, Scuttle Crab and Grubs. That denial is more powerful than doing your own Raptors, missing the gank mid lane, and telegraphing what you want to do. I can guarantee you, some of the people I've coached in the private Discord on Fiddlesticks are up 20 to 30 CS on this Volibear with this pathing. Likewise, if we swap it, the Volibear, if they were playing Volibear, they'd also be up 20 to 30 CS. And that's really what it tells you. What it tells you is that it's all about your jungle skill, and both of you, if you're the Fiddle or the Volibear, whichever side you kind of resonate with in your own problems, you're gold junglers together. Right? You are gold junglers together, and the big difference is who makes those jungle denial decisions with better flow. There's a flash. Depending on where you're from and how you like to show the sign 3. If you use 2 hands, you're weird. But, you know, the Illaoi is a very tough matchup. You've got to be able to burst through, get it done before she heals up. And at the same time, the more you do this, the worse you make it. Sometimes it's better to just leave her alone. It's like Tahm Kench top lane. One of the best Tahm Kench top laners a couple of years ago did a thing, an AMA on the Reddit. On the Reddit. Sound like a really old person on Reddit. And the question was like, how do I deal with Tahm Kench in lane? It's so obnoxious. I feel like my jungler can't gank it and I can kill him. And he said, you know what? The only thing you can really do is leave. Gank mid lane. Rotate bot lane. Use your TP to get back and hold waves and deny turrets as much as possible. Get fed through other mechanisms. And through Illaoi, sometimes that's kind of what you have to do, but it doesn't help when your jungler's literally running it in. And you saw throughout that entire thing, hopefully, you guys are training yourselves, this guy's like, oh, I can counter jungle because Volibear's dead. The first sense of true jungle Nile is the Fiddlesticks here saying, oh, he's dead, let me take his stuff. The Volibear doesn't go, oh, Fiddlesticks is down here, let me take his stuff. He says, let me do Raptors and then die. The Volibear is making a big mistake here, right? And the Fiddlesticks is saying, look, Zoe's the one I want to trust to carry the game with me, and the Zoe doesn't really have a lot of kills, and it's really heavily on the Fiddle at this particular stage, but the Volibear is not helping. Now we're back on Raptors. There's no sense of sequencing that we spoke about, which is why I told you in the silver portion of this that a lot of people will get gold just through outstatting or the champions they play or doing random stuff mid to late game. They don't get to gold as good junglers. If you're a good jungler right now, trust me, this game is over. Either your Fiddle or Volibear, it doesn't matter. Both junglers have had openings here. The counter gank, deny, sequence, control, push, gank, counter gank, punish, just everything possible in the jungle versus jungle gladiatorial matchup in the Colosseum of Doom and Despair. Now, we do have a scaling Senna and a Seraphine. The Fiddlesticks walks down here with no HP and 2,400 gold in pocket. That is just an absolute int. Use your brain. Hey, I'm at 10% HP and I got an item and a lot of gold. And I got no Krugs even. Oh, I do actually have Krugs. I lie. I've Krugs and Raptors. I don't really care at this point, actually. So worst case scenario from the Fiddle should be, hey, we have to give up the dragon, but let me take away my Raptors and my Krugs to heal up and then go back to base. Because I don't think we can fight for that dragon because my bot lane needs to recall and I'm low HP. So let me just do Raptors. Let me do Krugs to prevent any counter jungling, right? Go back to base and buy, and then we'll play around this, right? I can give up this dragon. I'm not concerned about forcing and getting the first two dragons or the grubs. The problem, though, is that the Volibear, despite his int, has all 6 grubs and both dragons. And I do feel like your Fiddlesticks pathed a little better. Didn't waste, 10,000 years down here to reference the Tool song. He would have gotten some, And again, his deaths are shutdowns, his itemization. Oof. We're not going to talk about itemization. I have just released a video on builds. Go and watch that or look at the gameplay channel for builds and specific champions. This is really about jungle theory, pathing, and such things, but it's good to optimize your builds. Now the Volibear just shows up with Rod of Ages, not fully punished. Whoa, that was not a good flash. Now he dies. Now it's a straight Intothon, it seems. Okay, so 60 minutes. At 40 minutes, what do I say? 6,000 gold, level 10. Volibear is at 5,000 gold at 1638. And he's going to respawn here. Level 9, is he close? Nowhere near close to level 10. Fiddlesticks, on the other hand, is, well, not that much further along. But he has, speaking is hard, 6,850 gold. So the Fiddle has the gold, but not the experience because he didn't counter jungle objective and sequence properly because he wasted time. The Volibear has neither the experience nor the gold because he ganked the wrong lane multiple times. He didn't punish and deny the Fiddlesticks whatsoever. And he didn't optimize his ganks, his fights, or his sequencing. He just existed. And that's how you coin flip up and down. So when you get platinum one day from gold playing like this and you're like, oh, I demoted to gold, this sucks. It's because you just coin flipped your way up and you're going to coin flip your way down. Just stop. She's now level 13, son. Like, surely you can see that there's a 4-level lead to her, and now this is truly and utterly a horrific situation. I mean, I know your bot lane have taken the turrets and such things, but go do other things. Okay, well, if the whole team wants to show up, okay, fine, no. The whole team wants the Goon Squad, great. But, well, apparently, again, nobody actually wants to punish that. So, theme of the day. If they Goon Squad your top lane and pushing up the top side, Trust me, this should already be gone, but if not, I'm shoving this, I'm taking all of this and ganking this, I'm shoving this. Kill my Alawi. By all means, send 4 people, but this should be killed, this should be taken, this guy should be killed, and this should be taken. All for Alawi's death. That isn't happening, and instead we are coin flipping a fight over the Herald, whereby we know that they straight up have numbers advantage. Let's see what happens. Aatrox shows, Jhin does Mega. Alawi will be up in 2 seconds, but no teleportation spell. And then we're going to have to lose the Herald here. So the Fiddlesticks is just giving up every objective. Yeah, so the Volibear, like, granted he's played not so good, but his focus on objectives has been pretty solid. So apparently nothing happens for a few more minutes, just basically everybody wandering around. There we go. Much like we talked about, right? Lau is pushing top lane again. Fiddlesticks is currently in the base. Their bot lane push up way too much. And of course, the stacking of objectives will eventually do a lot. I'm not a huge fan of what the Volibear did, but I like that he shadows his team here. We can all have terrible games. Bad things can happen to good people. Bad things can happen to good junglers. And sometimes you just have to play win condition. I had like this was actually really funny. Just 2 days ago, I had a 10% KP game, but I got 6 grubs, 4 dragons. There's a fiddle ult. Baron Steel. You know, but every time I grouped, here we go again. There it is. Volibear's good versus Fiddle in general, just ISO, because obviously the interrupt. And now, of course, the Volibear is getting into the Rod of Ages stacking and the very stacking. You know, it's not the best build from the jungle, it just takes too long to come online. Definitely prefer the Shoujin Iceborne Spirit Visage, you get the same effect, but sooner and more reliably for this spike of the game, in the game rather. So, think about that. However, back to my point. You know, every time I grouped, one of my team would go away and they would engage. I'm like, but can we just fight? We'll win. It was just one of those games where I'm just like mentally out of sync with my team, and it sucked. But I got all the objectives, and then, you know, eventually my team allowed me to group with them. It's like, can we group now? Yes, cool, win, done. And sometimes you just have bad games as a jungler, but your control, your understanding of your champion, these are important things, right? Map control, understanding your champion mechanics and your builds, does add up. Now, obviously, Grasp here is a good room, but not the best route to go from the jungle at all. So, if you're Fiddle and you've had to give up dragons, grubs, heralds, everything, you see 2 top lane here, you've got to be pulling the trigger. Team, pinging, let's go. Help on the dragon, help on the dragon, help on the dragon. What are you sitting waiting for? You know, you have your ultimate up, that's great, but like you're just sitting here trapping. No one is, there's 3 in the top lane. What are you waiting for? You've got to be on this. You've got to be strong enough to actually go and pull the trigger on this. They're literally sending everyone top lane to the Alawi, level 15. And the Alawi's going, guys, can we please do something? And I guarantee you that the outcome of this game will be decided by this moment. Not the 2 dragons given up, not the Herald, not the 6 grubbies. Right here with your level 15 Alawi sucking all the pressure. No one sieging this. No one shoving this. No one doing this. That's it. If this game is lost by blue team, that's why. And now I can 100% say, hey, let's blame the Alawi for splitting like that and just dying in isolation to 4 people, sure. But why can't we even siege this? Why can't we push this out? Like, even as Fiddle, just go here, shove this. Shove this. Force a rotation. Take this. Take all of this. Loot back and ult mid lane. The game is over because you're going to get that kill and you'll win from it. Now, it looks like they're going to get this dragon anyway. But all of this is too late, and now the Volibear is like, hey, let me actually go ahead and steal some camps for once. It's a little too late for the jungling, but he's getting it done. Alawi is just pushing by herself with no consideration. Now we're going back to our jungle. Push the map. 2 top, push. Take camps, push. That's a problem. That's it. Same as in the silver video, same things that I'm talking about in this one. Your teammates are not going to know how to split push. They're going to just blindly go. But when they send 3-4, this is what, the 3rd or 4th time they've done that? Where is the pressure anywhere else? You know? It just doesn't exist. I'm looking at the camera, looking at FRGs at the same time. Fiddle tried to join this. Push mid lane, push bot lane. Yank somebody. Like, you're going in by yourself 1v4 after the Alawi's dead. That'll be Baron. Which it is. It is Baron. They did get Baron. And this is the same thing as the previous chapter, so Let's just speed through this end game. I'm pretty sure red team should win because Vlad's going to scale, Volibear's going to scale, Aatrox will catch up innately, Seraphine and Senna will scale. They did get the bear in there, but they will die, it seems like. And then we just repeat the process. Now Aatrox and Alawi and Volibear group up again for another Menage a Trois. And you have here Fiddle being altered on the Seraphine. But now Volibear's like, well, now I've got Navuri, I've got Rod of Ages, I've got my W really quickly of cooldown. There it is. There it is. There it is. Yes, good job. And in the meantime, everybody else is dying. He's dead again. Push top lane, please, with the Baron. Thank you. You're pushing top lane. You got 3 there. You got 2 dead. So you know that you've got all the numbers advantage in the world. I wouldn't even, I mean, excuse me. You can rotate to that, but I would just keep it in that turret. Wait for the Aatrox and then go together. Obviously got the Scuttle Crab here. Their numbers disadvantage, man, this is really a damage to turrets, understanding of numbers advantage and pressure that just isn't being done by the Fiddle. And a lot of this could be avoided just for better jungle denial early. Both junglers though. And that would allow a snowball where you don't actually have to entertain these scenarios. And you're seeing the carryover from silver into gold. Better decisions in certain situations, but still a lot to learn from, a lot to improve on. And Platinum does a better job. Those junglers do a better job a little bit of the denial. They do a little bit better job across the board. There's nothing really that stands out. It's just better. Everything's just a little better. And, you know, from the looks of things here, this game just slowly bleeds. I apologize for anybody that's looking for some dynamic mega-ness. It's just not here. There's a Seraphine ult into the Volibear combination with the Vladimir. And, you know, Fiddle just didn't use this lead for absolutely anything, and they end the game. So let's jump to Platinum to see truly how we can now take this rough game, make it a bit smoother, and then add a bit more spice so that you can get Emerald and obviously take you to Diamond. So we've seen a few different junglers already and a few different jungling styles. You're going to finally see the Raptors start there by the Amumu. We've got a Wukong. We have a cheesing bot lane. This is why it's just better not to, you know, look, there is a good way to have a leash, but your jungling needs to play around that. Ideally, though, just let your laners go to lane and handle their business. Start on the Raptors like the Amumu did here. Control your clear. You do not need a leash. Where I like a leash is specifically if I want to reverse clear and do more high-level strategies to mislead the enemy jungler. Basically building up for the jungle denial we just spoke about. Jungle denial that we just spoke about. Because you absolutely must head to Virkayu.gg. Not only do I have a free jungle improvement resource, I also have a dedicated program with jungle video courses, jungle coaching, coaching classes, a jungle VOD library, special weekly content you'll see nowhere else. All of this available through a premium jungle Discord, which is highly active, a huge community that help each other climb using my jungle program and courses. As we have seen by everybody hitting their peak rank goals in Split 1 and Split 2 of Season 14 as fast as possible. So to climb faster than everybody you know and to jungle div every game you play, head to Virkayu.gg or click the link in the description below. A lot of inherent jungle domination is through misleading. You know, if I see this ward here, for example, and I notice it, I will skip this. I will just go straight to red Krugs and then loop back into this one afterwards and completely throw off the timers. I lose 10 seconds, but you lose way more because you have no idea what the hell I'm doing, and when you want to counter jungle, you can't. So basically, we're building on the gold environment here, but let's see what we can do. Let's see the difference, right? We've got the silver sequencing problems, but making sure that that baseline gold income is good. We've got the dynamic map control versus which lanes to gank, which versus win conditions, versus objectives that we had in the gold example. That was quite a messy game, but really now, all the principles we've so far discussed in Platinum will become a little bit more streamlined, a little bit more effective. And we see here the Cannon versus the Riven. Both junglers now, contrary to the last couple of games, just doing a straight up full clear. And obviously here, the Amumu knows straight up that the Wukong is going top. So, right, the leash was given. He shows on the Raptors. We see it. So we know 24 CS guys coming out of Tribush. From the Amumu's perspective here, we started on Raptors, and Wukong, he knows most likely that the Amumu started on the Raptors. And that's when I like to kind of reverse clear against an invader, because now you think I'm up here, but I'm down there. And those are different ways you can kind of play around with it. So let's see what happens here in terms of our decision making, because this is important. So Amumu knows that he's slow on the clear. He should be a lot faster. Those mechanics need to be 100% worked on. We're not thinking about the Wukong. There he is, mid lane, 28 CS. We're going to go on the cannon here, force the flash out. We do have another one that we can use, double bandage toss. Wukong ends up burning the flash. Oh, actually does not burn the flash and down. She just repositions. Cool, very nice. Now we get a double scuttle. So immediately, you can see a difference between the junglers here that you did not see in the gold game, right? The Amumu is hanging around much like the Fiddlesticks did in gold when he tried to make the play in the bottom lane. So if you're not sure what I'm referencing, go watch that. Even if you're platinum, go watch the gold one. It's a really good idea of where you came from and how you can keep building on your foundation. I like what the Wukong is doing here, all right? Yes, please. Oh, thank you so much. And obviously, we've been spotted. That is the risk here. You do have to understand, okay, look, if they've warded, they're going to see me. I need to pay attention to the fact that bot lane could collapse in on me, obviously. But the movement, this is just a great example of the small, subtle differences between a platinum jungler and a gold jungler. Between someone who's starting to think a bit more about the foundations of the game versus someone who actually hasn't got a clue and is just running on stat checking on a Mumu or Master Yi or things like that. Let's assess this in a second once this is played out here. Into the wave there goes the Mumu. Obviously, the guy's lost the flash. He should die with one more bonk. Dynas goes back line there, forces the flash, gets the reset, obviously. Wukong's now going to try and get the reset on his Q. He has the flash up. There's the dash, and bonk. Bonk. I love this. I love this overall. And it's very important that everyone here in Platinum understands why that this monkey, if he jungles like this, will be Emerald before everybody else. He full closes a baseline. Even though he got a leash, he full closes a baseline, all right? He then goes for the Scuttle Crab. Amumu's clear is slow, and Mumu had the advantage. We all knew where Wukong was. No one knew where Amumu was 100%. The Amumu, instead of thinking like I told you in the gold video to think about jungle versus jungle matchups, the Amumu just goes against top lane. He doesn't think that the Wukong could be here. He doesn't hit the plan to look and to find out and to see. He just is. Goes for the top lane gank. Then he hangs around, and he hangs around. Why? You burnt the flash, you win. Cool, base. We're out. Cool, excellent, done. The Wukong then does the Scuttle Crab, because this is not really gankable, sees the Mumu gank and says, well, I can gank the mid lane here and then double scuttle. Again, good. But because the Mumu hovers way too much on the top side, way too much on the top side, the Wukong is able to say, oh, well, maybe he started Raptors. That's common, and thus steals the Raptors, right? The Amumu, in the meantime, look at this. Why are we going here? There's no reason to half HP go here when you know that the Wukong is on your Raptors right now. You know Wukong's on the Raptors. You saw him go. We saw it. So we're going for this gank knowing that it's going to be 2v2 into a wave that's crashing onto the Diana here. And now it's just PvP gaming. Can we win 2v2? Who's got the better mechanics? Who's paying attention to the downtimers of spells, flashes, and such things? The Wukong's doing a better job. Wukong should go back to base here with 1700 first rotation. Absolutely massive. Gets a sheen. Woo! We're going to go fisting today. And the Amumu now goes to the bottom side here. We don't know exactly where the Amumu is going to go. He could go top side and just say, you know what, forsake my Krugs. Might be the better play. And the Wukong likewise could sequence this, cut up, and then go for this. But that took so long that the Wukong's like, well, listen, Grubbies are going to be up here. Let me just do the Raptors on my way to them, just in case the Amumu tries something. The Amumu then, did he seriously just do that? Look at this. Yeah, free objective. Thank you so much. Now, could we counter jungle like the denial I mentioned? Yes, but I want level 6 here as the Wukong. Obviously, yeah, okay. Not going to results-based it. But this is where I get a little bit annoyed. I'm like, oh man, I really just want to do the grubs. But I think rationally, if you think you're needed up here, please leave the grubs. Leave the scuttle, go and help. Go and help, which is what he does. But, yeah. Good. No, honestly, good. Honestly, good. That's definitely a negative aspect of my own jungling, and I acknowledge that. Like, I really want to finish this. Can you guys just handle this business yourself? You shouldn't need me. Oh man, you did. It's better to assume they do, get it done, get the kill, and fall back than otherwise. So, as always, we all of us have a habit or a thing that kind of pulls us back. That's mine. If it's yours, this is a great example of why, look, if you think they might need you, you know Mumu's on the bottom side, let's go. Gank the top lane, get it done. Mumu now goes and does the dragon, and here's the downside to this play. The Mumu is not playing very well. He's investing way too much time, he's cringe, he's annoying, and it is what it is. But he gets a benefit there, all right, of taking your bottom side camps, which means you should anticipate that and maybe just take his. But then we see him walk across with the blue. We know he only took your blue. I can live with that. What I would like to do here is think about finishing off those Krugs to finish off the quadrant, and then just wait around maybe 5 seconds to do my red, then go back to base, and now I can invest in bottom side. Now, I would like to invest in bottom side right now, but I want to take away the opportunity for the Amumu to counter juggle me, especially if I go and spend a lot of time here now. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. We come at a base, obviously with a phage. We go to the walls. We see that the blue is gone. We do have ult available, and we would like to use it. Amumu goes back to base. Yeah, see, this is what just look at the wave. Look at the minions. Look at the wave control, the vision control. You know. There's the ult. We get another one as well. All right then. Bonk. One more. There you go. Okay, good. Here. Close. Here, what I do like is doing walls into the grub and then going the long way around for a nice gank, if you have the time to invest into that. I don't like doing the wolves and then sitting in a bush. Like, if I'm waiting for the gank to go through, I might as well do the grump first and then just sync up perfectly with the gank. And I don't have to worry about the vision, the scanning. I walk through it because the wave is perfectly positioned for the gank. But I will have timestamped in this video an ultimate early game jungle coaching that I did a while back, but all the fundamentals, not a while back, just like last month, but really good to talk about these kinds of habits and things for all ranks. So I'll leave that timestamped. You can have a look for this kind of stuff, but overall solid. Now, does he remember decide to go jungle denial gaming and take the bottom side, the top side rather? Let's find out. Nope. Sees the ward. We see this. We know the Wukong's going to come back to the top side. There it is. And all of a sudden, he stole blue. He sequenced a little bit. He's up a level. Should be pretty damn close. Yeah, Wukong will be 7 if he hits this big raptor. That's how quickly the Amumu's deficit gets caught up if you don't keep the pressure up as a Wukong. And I do feel like there's a... I don't think it would change our reality in this particular situation. The Amumu does have his ultimate, and the Hui can rotate over. The Diana can rotate over. There it is. Killed by the Amumu. Champion is kind of strong. Just want to say that. Champion is kind of strong. Even in its nerf state, it is still kind of strong, as you can see. And now, because we didn't deny those camps, guess what? He kills us, and he gets to take away ours. Huge. Huge, actually. Yeah. Now I think, well, what could the Wukong have done? I told you what he could have done. Control the red side to prevent the denial, anticipating that a good jungle will try that, and then go to the bottom side. And now the Mumu would have nothing here. You still might die here, but at least you wouldn't. Mumu is now wasting time. There's the level 8. Wukong is now doing what the Amumu did wrong in the beginning. All in gaming from everybody. Kennen is not really primed for this. There's the center R, and there's the Kennen R, and it's just coin flipping nonsense. Both junglers live. The story of the junglers. Look at this. Grubs are up though. Grubs are up. So if you want to do this, healing your pet, kind of risk it, go for it. You got mid lane Briar here. Hui is dead, so that's something you can do. Wukong on the sides, maybe I should do that. Let's see what happens here. If you're not going to go for the grubs, why are you still here? Just go back to base and swap. Because if you swapped, you'd already be doing this. You'd already be ganking this again. Ooh, that looks nice. You'd already be shoving the wave into all of this. You'd already be priming for the dragon. You accept that you need to give up the grubs. You base, you buy, you reset, and you make impact somewhere else, and you'll be in a great position. The Amumu, his first gank, terrible. His second gank, terrible. But after that, solid. Sequencing, jungle denial, good ganks, counter ganks, invades, and just through that simple jungle denial of invading the raptors, killing, taking the red, looking for invades here, and then taking this, he's in a much better position. And then as I say that, I'm not going to results-base that fight at all. I don't want to see anything like that. There's just, you should not be there. You bailed out by the Diana. You had 1700 in pocket. You know, there's haunting guys. We could have reset for the dragon and such things. So, yeah. No results-base that, but you can see here the big difference between the gold and the platinum. The gold jungler, just through that little bit of counter-jungling and pressure, even though he had a bad early phase, is able to really take the Wukong out of the game. Let's look at experience. 2 camps here. We'll be in level 8 after this quadrant. He's a full level ahead now. Absolutely, not even close like it was in the Raptors. Up here it was close, right? Really close. Here it's a full level. Just through, not even great jungling, just through thinking about the jungle versus jungle matchup. Wukong now? What are we thinking? Again, like we're We're hovering here. This is not a gankable situation. Look what the wave is. You can spend the time doing the Grump first, if it's not primed, and then you can set up your gank afterwards. But no, like waffling, wasting time, and now we're taking too long to do the Grump. Amumu is going to be down here as well, and we're just setting for 3v3. And if you are curious, what's the difference between Platinum and Emerald? Let's just see this play out a little bit. Push back, Hui's rotating as well. Diana's very strong, all in. Kai'Sa Senna. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I don't think we win this. Like, we're down 2k gold. There's an experience deficit. Jinx has R up. Galio has R up. Dyna's just a flank. There it is. There it is. There it is. Whoa! That's well played. That is very well played by the blue team. Obviously, Kai'Sa's going to rotate over here and try and do some cleanup. But maybe it won't matter because Jinx. Why is this not a good fight? Well, because you know that you've lost the last couple of fights. You've lost a bit of tempo on the map here. Leave. Again, leave, swap, and go take this or counter jungle this all. All in here. Take this all in here. It doesn't matter. Give up the dragon. Give up the fight. Give up the blue. Go and take everything here. And as I said, the difference between, well, I didn't actually get to the point, but the difference between the Platinum and the Emerald is now the ability to fuse your sequencing, your map control, your back timers, all the things we've talked about, with the ability to play away from the enemy jungler. The more you're able to do that in Emerald and play away from the enemy jungler and learn when to swap things, the quicker you're going to get to Diamond. And in the Emerald section, we'll talk a lot about the jungling required for you to actually do that and how to actually do that. Because in this video, you can see, in this particular portion of the video, you can see that they're playing with each other the whole time, right? The one time that Wukong played away from him, he got a huge advantage. And then he just kept running into where the Amumu was and not actually jungling smoothly and properly, and he lost that. Whereas the Amumu earlier was really struggling, but then understood when he had an advantage to get in the Wukong's face, to get in the map's face, to play around his mid laner who's winning, to look for that 2v8 control I mentioned in the gold section. Everything here flows. The improvement that you have going from silver to gold, or to bronze to silver to gold to platinum to emerald, there is a way of improving, and you can see hopefully in this video the step-by-step process. It's not a magical pill. You don't suddenly go from silver to being a diamond jungler. No, you learn and add things every step of the way. Now, we do have Briar on the top side, so we can take the Herald, which is great. We'll enjoy that, much like Frosty's. And you can see here now, the map is pushed up. We got all of these turrets here. And look, we're at 16 minutes. The Wukong's at 5.5k gold, but halfway to level 10. So literally the same as I think it was a Volibear in the previous one. And the Amumu here is 6.5k gold, much like the Fiddlesticks, but he is well on his way to level 11. That's the difference, right? So the Volibear had a carryover from the silver with mistakes in his gold game, and the Wukong has a carryover from the gold mistakes in his platinum game. And you can see it right here. The one who has learned from it is having a better jungle phase. Now, Fiddlesticks through the game, through a different mechanism, is mid to late game decisions, which we've spoken about. But the jungling portion did have that, you know, he was improving kind of thing to it. Now, Dragon is on the map here. We've only got one. We don't need to force it. We're kind of investing now a little bit too much time in this. I don't like overcommitting this. If you're going to just drop the Herald, just drop the damn Herald. Like, you know that you have this control, just drop the Herald and push in, push in, push in. You've got the map pressure here. There's no reason to wait and bait. Hit the turret. That's all we're here for, right? We don't need to force the gank first, unless, of course, you are worried about this exactly happening. But I think if you turret dive this perfectly, that wasn't perfect, but it was well done. You should have no issue killing and getting the turret, but they took too long. So now Hui actually has time to come up, show up, and defend up. Meantime, bottom lane here, off we go, and we're looking at the Wukong. Why? On Zeus's mountain are we here? Play away from the Amumu. You're not going to stop this. Go, like, this should be a full-on 3v3 bot lane. Can we actually do something here? If not, push out a wave, do some counter jungling, get some map pressure, flank from behind when Diana shows back. I don't know. There's just so many things you could be doing here as Wukong, but he decided to leave base, walk up here, stand still, walk through here, go through this. What are you actually accomplishing? And now the Amumu is 2 levels up and gets a free dragon. There's no reason for him to get a free dragon. So in the Emerald and Diamond chapters, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But I'm also going to put a video where I talk about this stuff specifically right at the end, just so you get a good idea of what you should be looking for at a high level to close games and avoid these mid to late game swings that we're seeing in these videos, right? It can be summarized for every MMR. It doesn't really change, right? Like macro is macro, pressure is pressure. That's the kind of stuff we're looking to do wherever you are, right? Because once you're fed and everyone's level 18, doesn't matter what position you played, you're fed and you're level 18, you're full build. It's about your decisions in the macro sense. But in this situation, you can see the Wukong. What has happened, man? I was so happy and looking forward to this game in that early phase. I don't know what's going on. And again, the Mumu got the window for the counter jungling, took it. And just through that counter jungling, I think 3 or 4 times he did it. He got kills, he got buffs, he got camps, he stole from the Wukong. He made the Wukong feel that pain. And now we get a 2-level lead. And that's what the gold game was lacking, that isn't lacking in this game here in Platinum. And that's just a lovely thing, right? It's nice to see the foundation, the building blocks work. And obviously there are gaps in their knowledge and their execution, obviously, right? They'll be challenged if there are no gaps. So it's just about identifying where that gap is. For Mumu, it would be pulling the trigger quicker on those decisions, those ganks, not over-committing for a gank and spending too much time doing it. And I would think more deeply about that if I were him. Now it's basically just a straight-up siege game. Looking for that all-in here. Hui is tough to do. There it is. We're going to go for the 1. Ult to the face. You know, you got split pressure. You don't need to force this as Diana and as the blue team here. You can kind of relax a little bit, bait out the ults. But, you know, Wukong dies. You got Riven splitting top lane. You know, okay, we're a little bit trapped here for where the movement's not really where we want to be. There's Riven collapse, so this might work out for us. Doesn't quite. Well, maybe Riven can clean up. There we go. So now we're just playing a little bit of solo queue League of Legends. But I can tell you, for looking from the timeline here that I've pulled up, it basically just comes down to exactly the same thing. They're just fighting now with their stat checks, with their item advantage and the gold advantage, and they're looking to straight up clean up the game. So let's see them do that. Q over the wall. Ult, Jinx reset. The Mumu obviously has yet another one. There it is. We can use an ult if necessary. There's Galio to follow through. Riven is on the bottom side, handling her business by herself. 3-1-0. Again, it's not about the KDA, but the damage to objectives, turrets, and who takes the Nexus. The Wukong, honestly, that was such a huge fall off. That was a big sophomore slump. We don't enjoy that as much. But I do like what he did early, so do bear in mind that that was good and what the Mumu did was bad, and just because it swapped over doesn't really mean anything. Yeah, mega AoE team fights. Look, the team did great shit in the bottom lane there, and this guy splitting here, should he have been with them? Yes. But what could the Fiddle have learned here from the Mumu? Wow, man, the map sucks. I don't think we should do that. Go and push away. It doesn't matter that you're Fiddle, that you're Zyra, that you're Karthus, that you're a Mumu. Go and push. Because if your whole team die here, and you were corrected the fight was really not a good fight, then at least you get pressure. If the fight was neutral and you could have made the difference, then your assessment was incorrect and you should have rotated. Or your team are so far ahead and you trust them that you're just applying pressure so you can go next game and you know that your team will clean up. Those are really the 3 outcomes. But how to recognize that comes with experience, understanding you're a champion, and obviously recognizing who's fed on your team. You know, if everybody's just losing, might need a bit more macro. But we'll talk more about that in the final section of this video because that's an important point here. I know I've kind of stirred some questions about that. Let's jump into an Emerald game to see the difference now between Gold, Platinum, and how your skills are coming together as you want to make that trek to Diamond. Alright, Udyr versus Graves in our Emerald level game. Let's see what they've learned from their journeys from Low Elo to Gold to Platinum. How do they fuse their sequencing, their map control, their objective, their jungle denial, and their general idea of win condition gaming. Because that does change depending on who you are. So, let's have a look. Yone versus Gruggy Ice, Mega Sloppy Walrus in the top lane, not literally, not an Emerald. Kali versus Syndra, and a Milio and a Xayah versus a Braum and a Kai'Sa. The full clear speed here will be way faster on Udyr, obviously. Graves is looking pretty spicy. We got the Collector price reduction as well, pretty damn strong item. So, a lot of good things happening to these champions. Obviously, Udyr nerfed, but, you know, still strong and still viable, and nothing's going to stop the champion from dominating all the games that he wants to play. Let's be honest about that. Whether you played him 6 months ago, today, yesterday, tomorrow, with the nerves, champ is going to be great. Same for Graves. But as always, it's about your skill issue in terms of how good you are in your champions and making it work, really. Nothing's going to stop you reaching Diamond if you're playing Graves and Udyr and things like that. So, full clears are done for both junglers. Obviously, from the Udyr's perspective here, they move up to ward. We're ready to pounce. You see the difference here already between gold, platinum, and emerald in terms of finishing their clears better, and we have a straight up 3v3 with the Syndra joining for the 4v3 advantage. Udyr's able to kill the Milio. There's a flash down into the Graves. We do have the Braum passive, which is amazing here. Another kill. Beautifully done. Close, but well done by the Udyr there. Obviously, we are most likely going for a... Actually, I have no idea what this guy's going to build. Most likely the AP into tank. Let's assume that's the case. You can do AD, obviously, but we'll see which way he goes. Remember here. And now you're thinking, well, okay, doesn't this mean the game is over? Hell no. Trust me, this game is a long way from over, and Red Team have every opportunity. The point of me telling you to clear quicker and to make sure you're done with your clear on time is because when bottom lanes move up to ward, you want to be here to pounce. When the Scuttle Crab is up, you want to be here if you have Prior to fist and steal and snack. But we also need to think a little bit deeply about, do we want to match the jungler or not? So 99% of this Graves is starting topside pathing down. Mostly they will do this. 99% the Graves is probably expecting the Udyr to start down here and go up here. So the Udyr says, I actually want to match you. I want to be in the same place. I'm going to start topside and go down. Great strategy. And he knows this because he'll clear fast enough, and he's got a Braum, and it's most likely going to be pushed in with Kai'Sa being in the lower range ADC here, and the Milio having the range advantage, that we will have this situation. The big thing that is important about this meta is mid lane. So if your Syndra's rotating here or not, you decide, can we win the 3v3? If Syndra's showing up, obviously you want a full commit, and everyone does a great job here. Now, at this particular stage, we know that the Akali could easily rotate down and we're super low. The discipline here from the Udyr to say, I need to go back to base and give up this bottom scuttle. Huge, huge decision. Graves also knows that he most likely will have to do that, give up the bottom scuttle. So he's going to come out of base and go straight for the top scuttle and snack it up for himself. Now, Udyr should say, well, if I'm playing against someone who's going to be diamond, I'm probably expecting that scuttle to be gone, so I'm not even going to bother checking it. Oh, look, he shows top lane 28 CS. Definitely there. What's lacking here from the Udyr? Communication. You might notice these things as a jungler, and your tracking and your extrapolation starts to get good. You notice the difference here between now and silver? Huge gap already, just in this video. You got to communicate. Because they're so busy learning itemization and split 3 and figuring out what their champions do and trying the lethal tempos, and this is going to go on for the next couple months. They're not going to notice this. They're not going to know that the Grave sequence down is giving a bottom scuttle, is going to come out of base and take the top scuttle. See the Udyr here? No. Oh, hold on. Okay. Couple of things you can do. You come out of base, you go Grum because you know it's gone. You ping off, you hope your Yone listens. He doesn't, he dies. Well. Now, the next thing that is going to be spawning that I want are the grubs. So I'm going to go Wolves, Raptors, Krugs, quickly snack those suckers up. And then if I can gank, I will. Otherwise, base, top lane grubs, level 6. Cool. That's the baseline. The alternative here is that you know that the Graves did all of this at 24 CS, dies, has 28 when he shows top lane. So he's got the respawn of his Krugs, the respawn of his Raptors, right? So he's going to loop that. It also tells me that this bottom scuttle is available. So what I can do here is do Grump, Wolves. I can kind of maybe do the Raptors here. It will distort my sequencing, but you could. And then I can run into the river to take the Scuttle Crab, first or after, depending on how the tempo is going. And then assess whether or not this is something you can gank, right? And now you have the option of ganking, of looping back for Krugs and going back to base anyway, of if this guy shows up here again for some reason, just taking Dragon. Then you'll have to give up the Grubs, especially if he does Krugs, Raptors, ganks again, he's going to go for grubs, but that's fine because now I can counter jungle and deny, counter jungle and deny, and deny. I'm in a good position, right? So those are the options really available to the Udyr. The other option is to say, hey, buddy, I know you're in your jungle. I know that this is a little bit of a gankable lane here. However, I have a different school of thought when it comes to Akali's, and that I just never gank it. Never gank it. Never, ever gank it. I did a tournament with a challenger Katarina a couple of years ago, half a goddamn decade ago, in Season 9. And basically, I was playing Rek'Sai. That's what I used for Haido at the time. And we basically agreed, look, I'm Katarina, you're Rek'Sai, it's Akali. Nope. It's just not worth it. It's just so difficult to gank beyond a certain point. It's better to Goon Squad and roam into the side lanes together. And right here, this is why the Udyr is not diamond bound. There was just a complete disrespect and lack of tracking to where the Graves was and bad ganking assessment. So that carries over from the Platinum game. Huge, no? Huge. If you are Emerald and bouncing around an Emerald and you're stuck and you can't get to Diamond, You went for the aggressive play. The only time that this aggressive play is good is if you also have mid prio and you know that you straight up win. No contest. You straight up win on the Raptors for the fight. And you've got mid lane prio, because obviously top is there. However, is that still the best play for your E comp per minute, your experience and your goal per minute? No, because I can get the same thing doing all of this. Ooh, hello. All of this and trying to get this, right? And that's what Udyr is good at. He's a sequencer, he's a map controller, and yes, he gets a little bit strong there, but too soon for that. Now we're level 4, haven't taken our wolves. Akali now gets to do deep ward here, which we should anticipate, obviously. Graves gets a sequence all the way down here, obviously. We're now going for a gank here, forcing in on Akali. This is carryover. Every player in every rank has a problem with their jungling that they keep up until they get to high elo, and even then until you get to challenger, right? Really. Only challenger players have kind of controlled these negative tendencies, and again, everyone has them. It's what I call like the ghost of silver, right? Everyone that goes above silver has something from silver that they did, that they keep doing when they get tilted or frustrated or they struggle. And that's really what we're seeing here from the Udyr. And what an amazing early gank and play. And then he just threw away the advantage. And now he telegraphed. The worst thing you can do in Emerald is telegraph where you're going. There's no reason to telegraph this. Again, I don't know why any of this is happening. So bot lane just straight up dies, nothing you can do about that. I want you to imagine a universe where everything has happened exactly the same except for the Udyr. I did this, I did the Raptors, I did this, my bot lane die, I cannot clean this up, I loop back to Krugs, I'm going back to base. Right now, instead of being here, right, we have an extra 4, 8, 12 CS. We are halfway to Grubs, and no one knows we're halfway to Grubs. This guy is just sequencing down and thinking, where's Udyr? What's he doing? Is he on the dragon? Is he on his Krugs? Where is he? He doesn't know, and that's what you want. You want this guy to go psycho thinking about where you are. And I'm just here. And when I see Graves do this, I'm like, oh, well, you know, whatever. I don't have to fight it. I don't want to fight it. And the Udyr should know at this point that he doesn't want to fight it. The Graves has just gone for the full sequence. The Udyr telegraphs again where he's going, not tracking the wards from the Akali, where he's all of a sudden says, all right, time to go Grubs. You've left up your wolves, level 4. Get level 5 Krugs. You can see that here. Level 5 Krugs, bottom left, and level 4 Wolves on top side. How did I know? Because those are the first respawn. Your sequencing is off. You've told the world where you're going. You got level 6 Gragas top lane. Milio's coming here to rotate. You're going to have to steal 1 grub and get out. Now you're telegraphing exactly where you're going again. And now this is why this is where you really start to clench as a weaker jungler, because they could easily finish this off and just invade you. Yes! Yes, this is the jungle denial that we love. This is what I was saying in the gold video and the platinum video. You see the mistake from the Udyr. And that's all. Graves just did the right play. Graves died, unfortunately, in the play because Syndra rotated, but then he did the right thing. Scuttle, gank top through my quadrant. Udyr stepped out and made the mistake. And ever since he made the mistake, the Graves knows exactly where he's going, and he says, all right, jungle matchup, I'm going to win it. I'm not going to go farm my camps like in silver. I'm not going to just gank this lane like in gold. I'm not going to just go back to base and do the dragon like in platinum. No, I'm going to get in your face like someone who wants diamond and wants Mercer tier. And here we go, level 5 to level 6. Q against the wall as well. There's a smoke screen. And we can keep auto-attacking. We have fleet footwork. Obviously, we have our ultimate available there, and we'll just keep going until we can smack him in the face. This has been amazing because these are random games that I have no idea what's happening. I told Toots to find me all the games for this video. Don't tell me what goes on. Just find different junglers, and I will find the narratives and the stories and basically use the framework of all my courses, the in-depth ones, for this video. And I love it because the gold one, I had no idea. Platinum, I had no idea, and Emerald, I have no idea. But seeing the improvement in all of these facets with each rank increase, I hope motivates you. I really hope it motivates you because you can see here the visceral change in jungle quality from one rank to the next. And now, obviously, you know, you're seeing the bottom lane here struggle from the blue team. And I told you this game is long from over because, well, it is. Just because you all die level 1 doesn't mean it's over. Just keep sequencing, wait for the mistake, and then go denial. The Udyr has lost all sequencing. He's down 23 CS to the Graves at this stage. You could argue after the Graves does this kill, here's the thing, right? A lot of gold. I don't like that he falls back to this quadrant, and this is where the diamond level thing, we'll dive into the next chapter of this video. He kills him, take the wolves away from him, go back to base. You know he's gonna be in this quadrant. That was rude. Always put your phone on silent when recording. You go back to base, come straight back down. You know that the Udyr is going to be in his red side jungle. He's going to think about ganking bot lane. He's got the dragon available. If I stay top side here and gank top side, he's going to take my bottom side quadrant and counter jungle me. And now I'm screwed if I'm the Graves. So from the Graves' perspective, you did everything right to offset the level 3 gank. Now, don't allow Udyr back in the game. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Shut down. Well, basically just a kill. And now Graves does exactly as I said. And again, I have not seen these games. It's because, well, I coach a lot of Emerald and Diamond. I do, so I see this a lot. But there is the denial there from the Udyr just counter jungling, getting something back, which is fine. Could have also done the dragon. If I was Mundo, I would have done the dragon first because I feel I can really rinse that super quickly, super safe. And I would prefer to take that away as an option from the Graves, especially Hextech. From a team that's winning at this particular stage. And now from the Udyr's perspective, stop, time out, coach. Leave. It's done, you know? I know you want to fight this. But do you really feel in control at this stage in the blue team? I don't feel like I'm in super control here. They're already rinsing it. Kai'Zix pushing the bottom wave. And here's the thing about numbers advantage. Look at this. You're saying, but Virkayu, 4v4. No. She's bot lane. All red team has to do is say, we have 4, let's attack the 3, and the 1 down there is irrelevant because we have a 4v3 right here. And that's the problem with the setup. The setup for me, if I'm the Udyr, was the problem. So now because the setup is a huge disadvantage, we just get 4v3, Kai'Zix going in the back line, but it doesn't matter, target selection's great, everybody focuses the Udyr, we get that kill, Akali gets a slow and an ult execute on the Syndra, Braum is running away like, I push this wave, guys, and then Kai'Zix is like, well, I better go bottom side, but I could be collapsed upon. Oh no, what do I do? And then she'll greed, obviously. And Graves now does more counter jungling, more denial. Where is the Udyr going to go next? So, you're asking me, Virkayu, who gets into Diamond from Emerald? People like the Graves. Because this from the Udyr, you just get punished. You get punished. Every downtime moment you have by a jungler that's destined for Diamond and Master Tier will punish you. I know it's memes to kind of flame these ranks. And if you honestly do that, go outside. Touch grass. Because these improvements that you're seeing from game to game, you can see there's a big difference. So when a challenger guy flames every rank under the sun, just note that he's most likely not a very happy person, and good for him for being challenger. But for the rest of you, all of you guys dreaming of Master Tier, dreaming of Diamond, dreaming of getting that next rank, look at how much fun you can have when you do things right, and you can really dominate games. So I hope you take the positives from all of this. And again, we have a jungler ganking a 3 levels up top laner. Here, the benefit is... the benefit is there was a turret. And it was already low HP. But now, again, the Graves, look. This is just an absolute clinic for Emerald level jungling. Every mistake that Udyr does, he also telegraphs where he's going next. And every time he does it, the Graves doesn't think about the lanes, the win condition, the pings from bot lane, what kind of season he likes best in which hemisphere. He just says, now I kill and steal. And that's exactly what you need to do. That's how you gotta think. It's ruthless. The jungle vs jungle matchup is the root of how... It's the root of what will be your ultimate rank. You can harness that mentality. Huge. Now, obviously, we could go back here and do all of this stuff, but at this particular stage, we do have the Ghost Blade. We can finish off. I would just like to mention something. As Udyr is going to get clean up here, there's not much we can actually do about that. This is just, you know, one of those freebies he's going to get. It is what it is. Such is life. You accept it, and you go, well, that sucks. But from the Graves' perspective, remember with the Wukong, I said, maybe do these camps before base, so then you can try something down here without being counter jungled. That's what he did. He reset his quadrant, and now he's going topside again. Why? Well, because the bottom lane all died, Udyr showed up, and it changed the plans. So now you're wondering, well, what are we going to talk about? What are we going to talk about in the Diamond section if Emerald jungling is apparently doing a good job here? Well, this Graves will get to Diamond if he keeps playing like this, without a doubt, right? But to stay there and then to get to Master Tier, it's about that adaptive pathing and having an idea of what might happen next. And when it doesn't happen or it does happen, how do you respond, right? Like a coach with adjustments at halftime. You know, if you're Darvin Ham from last year in Lakers, you don't adjust anything. You have a lollipop and you say, hell of a ball club. If you're Greg Popovich, you're adjusting 14 different ways for the next multi-dimensional game that you're going to play so that you can win for the next 30 years. That's really how you want to think about it in terms of jungling. Can I adapt my pathing to what is happening? We'll talk about that in the diamond section. But for now, Graves did a good job there. Goes for the counter jungle. Here, I would look at this and be like, see, this is the difference here. I'm doing this as Graves. I look at this, I'm like, whoa, boy. Oh, do the grump here. So this is now, you guys want to get through Emerald? Take this grump, kite up, get the hell out. Because you're not going to most likely get this Herald here, but your bot lane are really far ahead if we can snowball them. So you can either dive this if it's diveable, rotate to this if it's rotatable, or just go, well, I'm in a pretty tough situation. Take the grump, move on up, go back to base, and then again assess. Can I counter jungle? Can I dive bot lane? Fall back to the dragon. My camp should be coming up here thusly. You know, I'm probably not going to be primed for Herald, but in theory I could go back to base and contest the Herald. Whatever, right? You just got to wait for the Akali to be respawned because she dies here. But we're not maximizing the take if you're the Graves. In this particular situation, you've not maximized your counter jungling. And by the way, that should get him to level 10. Significantly farther ahead than the platinum, gold, and silver junglers that we've looked at. Huge spike. And of course, his pathing here wasn't disciplined, so he shows, and now he's in a precarious situation. Is he going to get picked here from this? Sloppy Walrus does Bomba top lane. Braum passive does hit. Bomba is looking to go back in here. You know, everybody's really mad at the Graves here. We do have a lot of damage, should be fine. Oh my god, forgot the W enhanced Awaken Mega. Dies anyway. There's Syndra showing up. Beautiful flash from the Graves to flash out that Scout of the Week. Did you guys see that? So mechanics do enter mechanics do enter into it. I got too excited by that. Absolutely huge shield there. Also from the Braum, and of course our W, and you can always awaken W that as well, so that's just a massive shield from the locker being provided. And then here, watch the Syndra, she's gonna Scout of the Week. We flash that preemptively, so we can try and kill the Braum, and unfortunately, we ain't got no more autos. What should he have done? Smited. We have smite. You're thinking, but it's only 40 true damage. Well, fortunately, this guy has 11 HP, so he would be dead. Haha. Think about that. You gotta smite. You gotta smite these people for those kills. So should have been a dead Braum. Yes, we're gonna die anyway, but at least we get one back, and we're in a great situation. Missed opportunity here by the Graves, and honestly, a fight that I don't think we needed to take. I understand why we took it, and maybe it works out for us. I don't want to, again, results-based the scenario whatsoever. Good. I'm glad the blue team are getting something back here. So that's huge. In the meantime, we are looking essentially at. Well, there you go. So that forced fight from the Graves actually does cost his team greatly. We just go back to base, go down here, control your camps, go here, dive this, shove this, fall back to this, go here, shove this, take this. Maybe you lose this, but maybe you don't. Much better situation for Flow, right? Much better situation for Flow. And those Emerald junglers looking to climb to Diamond and be good in Diamond, this last 60 to 90 seconds, very important for you. Very, very important for you to understand. But if you can't understand it, trust me, you're going to have a lot of fun. You're going to keep snowballing these games as the Graves. And if you're the Udyr, but why'd you go there, Kai'Sa? Now you are dead again. So Kai'Sa's a little bit upset, I think, at life. Now the Udyr's like, well, Graves is bot side, let me counter jungle. Did you notice the big difference between the Graves and the Udyr here and the Amumu from the previous chapter in the Platinum? The Amumu and the Udyr have counter jungled because the Graves unequivocally showed and did an objective. They reactively counter jungled, which again is a good thing. But the Graves didn't reactively counter jungle. He proactively invaded and counter jungle because he knew camps were up, he knew where he was, he didn't wait for him to show before he decided to go counter jungling. He knew where he was, he understood all of this, and he just went straight in. And now again, this right here, we see the Udyr top lane, we know he's top lane, so we reactively counter jungle, and obviously, that's good. You obviously will do that. I'm not saying don't do that. You will do that. Just understand that it's not all about that, right? If I see the Udyr gank bottom lane, I don't know if he's in my jungle, but I know I can steal his camps because I'm tracking and I know they're up. Again, that's, as you get to that next level, that's the kind of stuff you need to be thinking about rather than purely, oh, he's top, let me take camps. Oh, he's bot, let me take camps. But the Graves now has died twice. And we're actually going to have a quiet phase for a little bit here. Talked a lot about these mid-game points in the last videos and the last chapters of this one. A lot of waffling and not a lot of action. And you can see here, same kind of things happen, but the Udyr has just been farming it up a little bit. However, I would like you to take note of the CS. Graves is at 159 to 106. Ultimately, this portion is about how you get diamond. So you can see everything we've spoken about, absolutely everything we've spoken about has been in the package that Graves has. If you can play this consistently and close this game out well, I trust in his ability to climb. Right, the Kali is our 2v8, so we shadow this. That means we play around it because we expect people to show up to kill her 1 HP. We say, look, I'm here to help you. That Q does not hit, unfortunately. Braum does show up. You've got to track the Braum in the rotations. Really, really good peel there by the Braum, and this is basically a mechanical situation, but I like the idea of shadowing the Akali. However, if you want to go for this, which I think we do, once you see Braum, it changes. So a lot of people say, well, you see Virkayu that died. Well, you know, you can start driving to the store, but if you forgot your wallet, you're allowed to go back and get it. You don't have to go to the store without your wallet. What are you going to do when you get there? You can turn around. You can be like, oh shit, Braum, you know, and obviously I don't know where Udyr is all of a sudden, and oh, you know, Akali has no HP and my mid lane is populated by my bot lane. Maybe I should just run away. So the shadowing is good to protect. You've cut off, you've saved, now you bounce. If there's just a Kai'Sa, obliterate her, hit your spells, use your flash, use your ult, kill her, because there's no one else. Take the Krugs, and walk away. If Braum shows up here, changes the dynamic, go, whoopsie daisy, bye-bye, I'm going to do my Gromp. Cool, that's fine too. But it's nice to shadow the Akali here. You've got no camps up, no objectives up, one Gromp available. You're making the aggressive play. Just don't send it for no reason, because that's how you throw games. And that's what you're seeing here. Akali's just too damn low. And now Milio decided to rotate with you to help you. And basically here, it looks like you might lose your Fed ADC because Udyr is able to pounce on her, Yone is able to rotate, and then Milio ditched her to help you make a bad decision. It's a very important throw mechanic there. Avoid these throw mechanics. Really just a big stressing point for all these videos. A lot of throw mechanics and suboptimal pathing and game styles in the mid game. And you're seeing how the games just become coin flip. And that's why you get fed and lose games. That's why in Emerald you think that Elo sucks. It does suck. But as you can see from the Graves' point, it's also not that bad if you're good. You really will get fed. But then if you're gonna die 4 times with dumb decisions, do Gromp and base, no, stay and die. You know, invade here, die, go here again, die. That compounds into a lot of sadness, so I would advise not doing that. Now, I like what we're doing here. Red into Raptors down to cut to the dragon, because then we can fall back to our blue side camps afterwards. But most importantly, if we want to cut for the dragon and it seems like we can't do it, at least I can do camps and pull away. And I'm not avoiding, I'm not getting killed, I'm not coin flipping, I'm just controlling my camps, my sequencing. And even though the game is looking a little rough, if we have to give up this dragon, I still think I can carry the game, and I'm not letting myself be counter jungled. So I like what the Graves did here. Red into Raptors into cut down. There's the Herald, using the Herald to create dragon pressure. Now obviously there's a big fight coming up here. We do have a 3k gold lead, 2k gold lead. We are strong, we are up a level still. You know, we just have to play it right. Kai'Sa's out of position there. Yone's top lane with TP, and as soon as you see Yone with TP, pull onto the dragon, straight up pull onto the dragon. Now you can look to make this pick here first. Bomba, Mega, huge, huge. Watch this if you're the Graves. Watch this. Do this, you just watch. All you're doing is observing. If you're needed, rotate. If you're not, finish the dragon. Now, I'm looking at a 26 death timer on the Udyr. I would like to kind of force a little bit the issue. So I'm thinking a little bit more dynamically here. I don't want to coin flip the Baron just yet because Akali is dead and Yone's got pressure topside. What do you think you should do macro-wise here? Catch the bot wave, push it up, force someone to come to you. Your bot lane will then have pressure here. And because it's a 4v4, maybe we can just set up the map for the Baron in the next 2 to 3 minutes or less, right? But instead he goes to his camps. And because he goes to his camps, there's no pressure. He's basically said, Akali's dead, I'm dead, Udyr's dead, they have 4, we have 3. So what does your team do? You've taken yourself out of the game. Go bot, push bot, force a rotation, don't die, bounce back to your blue side as necessary if you need to, if you don't have an item, and then you can base, now you can set this up, right? Problem is, we go back to our jungle, and no one can really do anything. So now we go into their jungle, which again is fine, but now is not the time to counter jungle camps as a primary. Now it's time to push waves as a primary. I would have much preferred to see this crashing, take the Krugs and get out, forcing 2 down, which allows me to base, and then all of us to go here while there's 2 here. You follow? So in Emerald, you got to start to think a little bit about how you're setting up your chess pieces in the mid game. Diamond, you get better at it. Mercy, you get better at it. Grandmaster, you should in theory get better at it, and in Challenge, obviously, you're much better at it. And I would love to say in Pro Play, they're better at it, but from what I've seen, honestly, it's the hardest thing. It's the hardest thing to sync up 5 different minds without a preset idea on how to play those moments and set those things up based upon comps and game states. And that's tough. You know, that's where a good coach comes in. You know, Nate Shot, if you want me to help, I'm happy to come and work for 100 Thieves for free. No, just kidding, for a lot of money. But no, you're talking about coaching, and honestly, most coaches just don't have the authority, the personality, or the vision to kind of bring these teams together. So the teams that have done that have won worlds, right? Like that's a big thing. But yeah, that's essentially what we strive to do at the highest level, what they strive to do. But yeah, in solo queue, it's always tough. So all you can do is play the pressure game, right? There's always going to be holes. Steam will be leaking out. Water will be coming in. Whatever you want to choose for your analogy. All you can do is try and control it. And you can see here, look at the map. Neutral, neutral, neutral. Why? It could have actually set up a nice lopsided map scenario where then we could actually try for this a little bit better. But we haven't done it. So literally what happens is pick. That's it. 3 kills. And the same situation because no one's really applying any sort of macro pressure. Now, Akali's bottom lane, Yone does TP over. We're seeing the rotation from the Braum at this particular stage. The next dragon has spawned. This is the soul point here. This is where I hate that everyone's flowing down. You can coin flip this. You can straight up coin flip this fight, but I don't like it. I am on here taking this with my team. We are taking this Baron right now. You guys take dragon, you kill, I'm taking the Baron. Because very clearly, since the last dragon at 21 minutes, it's been 5... I'm a genius. 5-minute respawns. It's been 5 minutes, 3 kills, and only 1 turret has fallen for the blue team. There's no pressure. So very clearly your team are struggling to apply the necessary sieging patterns to open up the base. What helps with that? Baron. And so give up the soul, do this, and actually apply the pressure. Akali's life for that is fine. However, you can rotate and decide to coin flip, but of course that's how you lose games too, because now they have a 5v4 advantage. Right? Graves, actually really, really nice assassination power thing there. Look at the Graves here. He sees the Syndra, he's done this well all game. His angling, his pathing, his E has been very, very good. Nice flank from behind, neutralizes the advantage that they have mid lane. Both mid laners are now dead, now it's a 4v4, and now we basically decide how do we do this. Yone's on the back line there. They're just walking, whoa! Beautiful rake by the Zyra, excellently done. And that's it. But again, a little more risky than just doing the Baron for free and then pushing the map out, right? So, well played mechanically. That should be a Baron, which it is. Everyone should go back to base. We have 3 items plus a Noon Quiver. Udyr's out of position. He's down 2 levels. This is all compounded from his bad early game. He's trying to greed for the blue. He dies. And now it's just a simple case of chain it all up, baby. And we shove it down with our soul and our Baron. And there's no reason to delay the ending of this game, which of course in Platinum and Gold and Silver, we saw a lot of delays to the ending of games. And you can see here already, soul, Baron, pick, push. There you go. There's a Zyra, was an X-Master tier. That was a Season 9 Master tier emblem. So maybe moved on with their lives a little bit. So they're down here in Emerald. But at one point they were good. And you can see that decision making come through in the fight there and a little bit in the laning phase. So it adds up. This is a literal Emerald game. So here we go. Let's finish it off, everybody. Siege, 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 siege. And nothing much else to say. Right. Dynamic adaptive pathing, win condition knowledge, macro, speed of game decisions. The next level, really. You are now going to get diamond after this video. Well done. Join me in the next chapter so we can figure out how you can get to master. Right, welcome to Diamond. Here we have a Viego versus a Javan, something you're probably going to see a hell of a lot of in your climb through to, well, that was fortuitous, through to master tier. Groggy Ice on the top side here being invaded by the Volleybird top lane as well as the Javan. As the Viego here, you're just watching entrances. We can assume at this point, so this is a nice little bit of, you know, what we talked about in the Emerald section, adaptive pathing. We see the flash burn, we see the flash burned. We're moving up here. I would assume that it is in fact warded. And I feel like the Viego here, if you want to start on Wolves, if you want to be proximal to this Fiesta zone, ward over the wall here just in case they're starting on your blue. Because I have seen where in Diamond, a lot of cases, the ones who are destined to be stuck in Diamond don't think at a much, much higher level than the enemy jungler. They just think, oh, well, I assume he won't do my blue and that's fine. And then they get surprised by it And even though they adapt incorrectly. So what we're going to look at here is how do we adapt correctly to events on the map? What kind of flow can we expect? And you'll see the mechanical difference as well. So, Journey to Master begins now. We are starting on the wolves now. What had happened here if the Jarvan was starting blue? You should, in theory, see blue now. I would assume at this particular case the Jarvan is done and off he goes, but it could be tight depending on the jungle you're playing. So I have seen cases, and it has happened to me too, even in Master Plus, where I'm doing the blue, I'm dragging the blue to do the grump, and then there's an Udyr on my wolves, because he snuck in through this way, and I'd warded down here. And those are just the surprises I want to avoid. However, you absolutely must head to Virkayu.gg. Not only do I have a free jungle improvement resource, I also have a dedicated program with jungle video courses, jungle coaching, coaching classes, a jungle VOD library, special weekly content you'll see nowhere else. All of this available through a premium jungle Discord, which is highly active, a huge community that help each other climb using my jungle program and courses. As we have seen by everybody hitting their peak rank goals in Split 1 and Split 2 of Season 14 as fast as possible. So to climb faster than everybody you know and to jungle div every game you play, head to Virkayu.gg or click the link in the description below. Absolutely fine, no stress starting on the top side. I like it because obviously you know it's most likely going to be warded, you know you're most likely going to be seen here, and I love the wolf start. We didn't talk a lot about this in this video for early routes, but starting in Raptor, starting in blue, starting in red, how do you decide the best action? And most of the time the best action is simply, how do I match up against the enemy jungler? How do I gank the lane I want to gank? And how do I mesh those two things with what I want to accomplish overall in the game? And in this particular case, it's like, okay, I see Jarvan and Volibear on the top side. I know Jarvan's not going to have time to get down here, so he's going to start here. That means I know he's going to pass downside. I feel like this lane here is highly volatile and snowbally. We do have the Jinx versus Karma. I don't want them to run away with the lead because then it's doomed. I want to try and get my Ezreal in a position where he can survive in lane and chill. And obviously, this lane looks a little bit like it's cursed now. So we want to match him. But we don't start on the blue. We start on the wolves. Why? Because you can get blue, grump wolves. If this is a gankable scenario, feel free. If you can then gank this, feel free, right? The Jarvan's not going to do this and cut in. It's unlikely to happen. But you will lose tempo if he were to gank bottom lane. So ideally, if you just full clear instead of doing either of those ganking scenarios, follow me here. Wolves, grump blue. You can shimmy on down, hit the plant, do your Raptors. You can even do Krugs into red if you want to keep that sequencing really nice from the Raptors and the Krugs, but all the way down. Now, if this lane is cursed and doomed as well, and there's not much you can do, but you're able to perhaps, snack away the Scuttle Crab, what their Wolves start allows you to do is the same as a Raptor start. Then you can gank mid lane, or if worst case scenario, you can always go back up to the respawn of the Wolves, the respawn of the Grump, and now you've done what I call a clean 6, right? You've taken this quadrant one time, this quadrant one time, you've gotten hopefully at least one Scuttle, and then you've taken this quadrant again. So now you've got a nice slingshot into level 5, and basically you can decide Dragon, bot lane, Grubs, top lane. You've got a lot of areas you can go, most likely bot lane. That's a Dragon focused strategy, but if you start Raptors, same strategy except for Grubs, and you can just swap it around. Now, at this point, you see the pings from the Jarvan. This is, again, we talked about this in the Emerald video, a lack of communication. And you're seeing here from the Viego, no pings. No real, hey, well, this ward is a little silly. I don't think Jarvan's invading you, but even if he is, this ward isn't going to accomplish anything because he could easily just EQ through the fog here and hit you up. Needs to be pings on the Jarvan. Jarvan pinging the Viego is really good. Look at this. Great tracking from the Jarvan. Very, very good. Hey, guys, listen up. Viego's down here. Now, remember, what happens with your, this is a low HP Kiana, this ward doesn't detect anything, but that ward does get seen. So there's the communication from the Viego. And he says, well, look, if he's going to gank mid lane, I can try to do something bot lane. But obviously, this particular stage, what has the Viego missed? And this is just absolutely fundamental stuff. We're talking about everything right now. But in-game, you've got to focus on these little details. Watch this. So, watch the Karma go up. You see the Karma go up there? You need to be staring at your minimap right now as a jungler. You need to be pinging that the Jarvans and Raptors going to bottom side. You need to be pinging that Karma has disappeared up, and then it's warded. Observe, process, communicate, right? Every single time. OPC, whatever that means. But it's important to note that she went up and then she went down. Okay, 99% it's warded, right? So when you come down here and you're finishing your clear off, you know that this is a lane that you're only ganking if you can just go. Straight up, go. No hesitation, no waffling, no questions. I'm pulling the trigger and we are moving. But you look at your brand, you look at the wave, you look at the Ezreal, this is not something where we're pulling the trigger on. Which means you instead should shimmy on back this way and say, hey, Jarvan, I know you're here because I saw the ward. Hit this plot and say, I see you. All right, Avatar style. No tail connects, please, but, I see you, Jigsaw. And then you can decide, do we 2v2? Can I beat him up? Or if this lane looks like something you cannot gank, or this situation looks like something you don't want to 2v2, but you just want to let the Java know where you are, the Java's most likely going to go back down into the Scuttle Crab. This isn't a Scuttle Crab fight I think I want to take, right? So what you can then do is just skip all of this nonsense, take this one right here, pull back to your Wolves, pull back to your Gromp, and again, full clear, 2 camps plus a Scuttle, no ganks, but you've communicated and your team now survive. So that's what we're thinking about here. He walks over the ward, telegraphs where he is, not so good. We know the Javan's there, he doesn't hit the plant. Hits the plant on the Scuttle Crab. I understand why, but at the same time, I know that he most likely is on the Scuttle, right? Like that, I know he's most likely on the Scuttle. So when I come up here, I hit this plant over here to make sure he's not there. If he's not there, he's on the Scuttle. I don't need to see him on the Scuttle if he's not here. But if he is here, I want to see that. I want to communicate that with my mid laner. So hopefully that makes sense. Now, all we're doing is wasting time. Look at this. Javan is, of course, going to use that Briar. Look at this. He's sitting in a water bush. He missed it. He doesn't adapt. He's wasting time. The Java now can basically go gank mid lane for free. He knows Viego's wasting time there. I don't like the investment here from the Java. Like, this is silly from him. Absolutely silly. Finish the Scuttle, cross mid lane, take the Scuttle, and then put deep vision here. You've got a ward in your trinket. In Diamond, I expect this level of adaptation and control when a jungler makes a mistake, and we're not seeing it. There's too much time invested here. So these are legacy problems from your Emerald games, right? 100%. Look at this invest here from the... Look at the wall placement there. Tied up on the top side of the lane. From the Jinx and the Karma, you know he could be there, so just top side of the lane. Don't give that free W stun. Watch the Brand and Ezreal, they're chunked. The Jarvan goes back to base for this, but straight up, this is what I'm talking about. So, Karma mispositions here a little bit. They misplay this. Do not, for a second, okay, think that this is necessarily the best play for the Viego, all right? He does get kills, he gets an assist there, that's fine. What do you know from what we've discussed with the Emerald jungling? If Jarvan had just taken this, crossed this, and kind of put a ward deep here, he knows, think about this for a second, Diamond junglers, think about this. We know that he started Wolves. How do we know? Because he did 4, 8, and then showed up on the blue with 8 CS. He showed up on this ward that we had from Jarvan from the level 1. So I know he started Wolves. So, as a Jarvan, 348, we take this, we gank mid lane, help Shadow, perfect. Don't even have to gank, just run across, get the double Scuttle, all right? You know straight up that the Wolves are available. So what you can do as Jarvan is move into the jungle here and slap a ward right there. And then you can think, all right, let me try and go back to base because I think the Viego might have recalled, so I'm not interested in fighting. So you're starting to recall, and maybe there's a situation where the Viego shows, although it's unlikely at this stage because it's 440, but maybe, right? So it's not about results-based, don't results-based this. Most likely here you've gone back to base already. You didn't hang around because you don't know where the Viego is exactly, but you have wards in his jungle right now. And now you've gone back to base, you're coming back to the top side for the Krugs, you've taken the Raptors, you see the Viego down here. If you see the Viego at 4 or 5, you cancel your base and you steal the Wolves. And then you steal the Krugs. And then you gank top lane. And then you do your Krugs quickly and your Raptors quickly. You stay out, you're not looking to fight, you're just looking to control the counter jungling. We talked about jungle denial for gold and platinum and emerald. Now we are denying the denial. And that's how you destroy junglers. Because now the Viego's forced to go down here, game's over for him. You destroy him. But because he shows up super late, at least you'd have deep vision, and now you can decide, you know, do I just keep sequencing and then do this? Do I gank this and then invade here? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And you have those options available to you. So that's why I think the Java made a mistake hovering too long around the top, the Scuttle here and the gank. He didn't commit to the Scuttle and the deep vision. And now because he didn't even take this Scuttle Crab, right? He has not actually punished the Viego enough, or at all actually. And that's the downside. Now he has done his full second clear, so he can go straight to the objective. He can use the prize. Whoopsie daisy, excuse me. You know, that's a little bit quick there. So he shows up for the dragon because he's done his full second sequence, 44 CS, you should know that. The Brand is randomly rotating to mid lane. Viego's behind on tempo completely. We have bottom lane Briar here a little bit. Hui is moving and helping. Kiana shows up, Brand is out of position, he dies. Now Viego's like, well, look at this. What do you do here if you're Viego, if you're a smart player? All right? 44 CS Java means what? Not 2 Scuttles. 2 Scuttles will be 48, right? 28 plus the next clear is 44. So you know straight up this is available, and you can see the ping here, the MIA ping. Is that from Java himself? it is from Jarvan himself. He's assuming at this stage that the Viego's on this, which means the Viego probably should be on this, and he should have cut up for it. There's no reason for the Viego at this particular stage here to go to Raptors, because you can assume based upon the vision, well, I actually don't have vision, but at this point I'm curious. There's no way in hell on this earth that Jarvan is topside right now. He didn't gank, he didn't show. He would have been wasting a minute of time sitting around for grubs. It's unlikely. So most likely he's gone to do this full second clear. So I'm going to cut up. And as soon as I see this, I'm like, oh yes, baby. Oh yes. Thanks for the scuttle. Thanks for the grubbies. And you're doing them, you're doing them, you're doing them. And yes, you are now going to make yourself liable to counter jungle in this side. That's where Jarvan's going because he assumes Viego's on the grubs. That's okay for the trade from the Viego's perspective. He doesn't really have a choice. And that's because he had shit pathing here and wasted way too much time for this one assist. That's his own fault. And the Jarvan will then get that benefit. So you're not going to look at him like, but Virkayu, no, like I'm losing my camps. You're losing your camps because you made a mistake. If you did good jungling, you wouldn't be losing your camps. And that's, really the big diamond level thing is control your jungle first and foremost. Which is why I said if the Jarvan did the right thing in double scuttling, warding, and then of course counter jungling, maybe, then he gets to control this. No counter jungling available for the Viego. Nice. And that's exactly the kind of stuff you're looking for. Viego then decides to stay out. No, not level 6 at all. Level 6, if you're in Diamond Plus and you want to get to Master Tier, needs to be faster than this here. Boom, dinged it at 706. You can get that at 606. You can get it at 615. We have a very low HP Volley Baba. Out of position there. We're going to hit that one. There's a sucky with orders and Qs. And that's a free kill. Now, of course, here, I would become the Volibear just so I can move faster to the grubbies. And, of course, you should be able to get at least one combo onto them and start it up, which is nice. No one's saying no to that. Right? Yeah. Now, we have Briar on the map here. We have the counter low mana, half HP. This guy's fresh from base, and Jarvan is doing the smart thing. I could go ahead and contest these grubs, but why? Why? I don't have my top liner. My mid liner is also out of mana. I don't feel like coin flipping or whatsoever. I'm just going to go boom, 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 and then I can lane gank here. I can gank this. I can get in the face here. Let this guy do this objective, and then I can adapt my pathing to maximize experience. Another thing that you really, really want as a diamond jungler, maximize that experience. And that, of course, means taking all these camps. Like, this is his third rotation. Think about that. It's his third rotation already completely done, and the Viego is only now beginning his third rotation. Only now is he beginning it. The Jarvan's a full lap ahead, basically. Yeah? Yeah, a full lap ahead, and he got the dragon. And he sent TS up. Much better. Now we get to do this. And because we are reasonably strong, although we do have a lot of gold here from the Jarvan, we need to be cautious about overstaying a little bit. I like the idea of kind of getting in the face here, but you need to have a ward. There's the flag. Good vision. Of course, the Viego at this particular stage, oopsie days, excuse me, I'm losing track of myself. Viego goes onto the Volibear here. There's two things happening. Slow down Virkayu. The Jarvan is going to full sequence, and then he wants to invade the red and the Raptors on the bottom side. You don't have the itemization spike you really want, but if your champion is strong early, feel free, right? Feel free to use that power. Instead, though, the Volibear is going on an adventure, and he's spotted. There's a Viego, there's a Kiana, there's a knockback, there's a kill. Cool beans! But the Jarvan will now say, thank you so much for your Raptors. Thank you so much for your red. I don't think we can greed for the Krugs as Zyra. Obviously, I'm going to snag those babies up and run away, because I can do that over the wall. Thumbs up. Yep, exactly. Good job, Jarvan. Good job. But we know that the Viego at this stage could be showing up, so here, it's fine to do it. But bear in mind, someone of a better quality might just immediately base, leave the wolves up, knows you're here, and comes straight down here and run into you. And so that's what you want to think about as Jarvan. So you can do it. You can definitely do it. You can definitely get out. But the goal here is to pay attention to that, because you haven't spent, and you need to be more intelligent with how you assess your risk. So if you're doing a higher risk thing, have that contingency. All right, if shit goes down, what am I doing? Am I fighting? Am I running away? What's my escape plan? You got to think about this at the same time. So really, really good job by the Jarvan there. And the Viego, honestly, 2-0-1 Blade completed. Huge cash monies. This guy's out of position here. This is obviously not who you want to ult until the Arcane Shift is down. If the Arcane Shift is down, the traps can go through. Excellent. The best ganking angles on this planet Earth are from counter jungling. What in the hell is the Jarvan doing here? How is he in my face? That's what you want from the ADC. Although that was more of a sophisticated accent. And ADCs are usually, so not sophisticated. The Viego now crosses over to the top side in vision. We know there's an RNG scuttle on the top side, so he will go forth for that. Here's where you could be really interesting as Jarvan and say, look, if I see the Viego go up, I extrapolate that he's probably going to try and steal my Raptors because I stole his. So instead of having good sequencing, deny, go straight to your Raptors, because it's okay to go Raptors, Krugs here and loop back if you save, or you lose 5 to 10 seconds, but you prevent the counter jungling. It's worth the time investment, right? So that's what I would be thinking about here as Jarvan. Let's see if the Viego goes into his jungle or not. He doesn't. He chooses not to because he sees the Viego, the Volibear is super low, but he knows Jarvan should be resetting. So instead he waffles. No Volibear, no Volibaba, no Raptors, but a gank in the middle. I mean, you know, sometimes as a jungler, you are giving gifts. And now he's walking to the Raptors here. And again, this is just silly. But have you noticed, Diamond Junglers, you want Mercy here, right? Have you noticed something about this? Look at this. We show crossing up 951. 951, we're down 22 CS. Because we delayed our second rotation, and thusly delayed our third rotation, we did not counter jungle. You are now in a dead man zone. Between galaxies, you got the void, right? Absolute void. Dark matter reigns supreme and what other space terrors might exist. You are now in that void of time. You have no respawn for a sequence. You have no counter jungling that can be done without risk. You are not looking at this gank right here, which I think is a bigger problem. Like, we look at the F key here. Don't go for, go, top. She's saying, but you missed it too. Well, of course I did. I'm talking to you, the camera. In game, I do miss this also. I've seen challenger junglers miss this. But to the best of our ability, 9 times out of 10, you should not miss this. Even more, 9.9 times out of 10. This has to be this guy killed my top laner, he's low, fuck the scuttle, all right? Go top lane, kill him right here. That's what you want. And that energy is very, very important. So, you got decisions here. You cannot fall back to your farm because you've delayed all your own sequencing. You can invest time into invading and taking camps away, but what if he's there, you get killed. Too high risk. This is free. Go top lane, go top lane, go top lane, go top lane, go top lane. You see the pings there? He's doing scuttle. If he just went up there with his E, Volibear is dead. You got all done a ball, but you have flash, you have smite, he's dead. You got him. You got him. Free as a bird. And then you can come down for the scuttle, and then you can gank mid lane. So he's entered into this void of time, right, where he's just wasting it. Now, Karma gives him a freebie. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. He said, thank you so much for the free gift, Karma. I don't know why she's running it down. She just is. But this is a waste of time also, right? So it would have played out better. Top lane gank, scuttle, mid lane gank. And now you know that this is most likely. Look at this. Look at this. He has no idea. Jarvan's just controlling. And now, wasting time. Cutting across. Why? What is this? I can fight you. I am strong. Yes, I have the power. And now he's rotating over to this scenario. But 9 times out of 10, this should not be a thing where you get anything as Viego. If this is played properly by Red Team, you should get absolutely nothing. What on earth am I witnessing from the pathing? No dedication to his game plan. No real understanding of adaptation pathing. Whereas the Jarvan did an excellent job keeping the fundamentals. The fundamentals I told you to keep in silver, gold, platinum, emerald. Built up to this, each step of the way adding something. Each step of the way making your jungling better each rank you go up. However, as you can see, the Viego is destined to stay diamond with this pathing because he created a time void where he could do absolutely nothing. And it's not even entirely true, he could do something, but he missed it. And because he missed it and wasted time doing this, the Jarvan got a full extra rotation of camps. A full extra rotation of camps. Now obviously, he's overcommitting. He's greeding. His team is not in a position to take these fights, and it's going to absolutely cost him. And it does. And it really, really does. And right there, that's it. That summarizes the first 12 minutes of a diamond jungler versus someone who will get master tier, and it's not flashy. Lethal counter jungling on the second, third rotation. Good sequencing for excellent objective control. No greeding. Gave up the grubs and said, I'm going to maximize my experience. Hopefully you can see here, in this is one of the best diamond reality VODs I've ever seen, actually, in terms of you can see the visceral difference between quality, right? And the difference between, like, oh, my team, you're 2-1-2, man. You can complain into a Reddit, into a Discord, into your own pillow that it's not your fault that you lost this game. My job here is to make you realize that it is your fault. And Jarvan played well, but you didn't exactly do what the Jarvan did, and you could have. You could have. And it started from the first rotation clear, not understanding the vision. You're down 2 levels on the Jarvan. We're going to get to 14 minutes here. Everyone's just sequencing. Volibear roams. Boom! Shaka laka laka. And now we're going to finish this quadrant off. Don't know where that came from. And we're at 14 minutes soon. There's a Viego in the brand. Yes, walk around, my sons. Walk around. Oh, look, invade. Okay, we'll pause it right here. 14 minutes, boom. We have a 204 Jarvan with what, 130 CS, Mega. We have an 83 CS Viego. This guy is fresh level 9. This guy is almost level 11. The best and peak stats that you can have right now at 40 minutes, those are very South African. 6,000 gold plus with 6,088. And basically level 11. That's usually a Karthus level thing. This guy is literally one scuttle, one camp, one assist or kill away from level 11. Perfect. Perfect. Very good jungling. Very, very good jungling. I do think he missed the early double scuttle. It changes nothing about his life. The only thing he did wrong this game was wasting too much time sitting in this fog of war when he could have double scuttled and warded. That's the only thing he could have changed. And if he did that, guess what? When Viego went ahead and did these grubs, he wouldn't be level 6 because he didn't take the scuttle first. He would have only gotten 6 on the first 2 grubs, or the first grub. And if you can contest it as Jarvan, if you did have the prior, you'd be 6, he wouldn't, he dies, you get grubs too. That's the only thing that I would correct in this particular game, but otherwise very, very well played. Good adaptive power thing. And now the Viego's just like, well, you know, like I'm down 1,000 gold and almost 2 levels. Maybe I can invade the blue. You cannot. You cannot. Wow, he missed the EQ. He missed a boom. Yes, very good. Very good. Yes, nice Jinx ult. I like when ADCs are human beings. Really, a big difference in jungling. A misunderstanding of pressure from the Viego. And now obviously you got to pay attention to the fact that Kayn is going to come out of base. There's an EQ with 2 levels up on her as well. We got the Hui following through with the Karma shielding us up. Disengage ultimate. There's a Hui ult. It's going to get the kill 100%. Huge, huge, huge. I cannot stress enough how much I love this game plan from the Jarvan. And of course, we should have definitely killed the Volibear a few times with the Viego. But you got a freebie here by your Gragas not totally straight up inting the lane. Right? Like, he's 3-3-0. He's taken the turret. Your Gragas has done a good job of your Viego. And what lane has a Viego actually impacted for WinCon? Think about the Emerald chapter here. Nothing. Nothing. He's lived for himself, he's played for himself, he's died by himself. That's it. The Jarvan, however, has focused on maximizing his econ, gold experience, while shutting down Viego. Because when you shut down Viego, he can't actually do what I just said and actually gank any lanes, but you can. That's it. That's the game. That's how you wrap up 40-minute diamond level jungling. If you want master tier, that's it. I mean, there's not a lot more I can say. Well, there's a lot more we can do in terms of scenarios. And if you're losing, if your lanes are winning, if you have to give up all the objectives, all these little things, but those are in the courses. But hopefully this provides you a lot of value in and of itself, just so you can go into your next game with a renewed determination of how to actually path, adapt, suppress, and do everything I've mentioned in this long, long video. Now, I hope those of you who watched the whole thing have gained a lot of information and knowledge from it, because it's really powerful. When you think like this and you jungle like this, you just have a flow to it. The guy's got the highest CS in the game other than Jinx, and most of the time, your ADC won't have that CS. You will actually have that advantage. Most of the time, I have the most CS in the game at this point as well. And it's huge to be able to do that. So, in terms of closing now, we can speed it up a little bit. We do the Herald. We go outside into the Scuttle Crab here. We're going to go for the wall. We can be very aggressive now. Obviously, pay attention to your team and things like this, but you're really looking to use your ult. We have the Crater Zone. We just shoving them off there for the free dragon. This is number 3. 3 grubs, 1 Herald, 3 dragons, plus all the ganks, all the sequencing. Great counter jungling. Gragas shows up. Just finish it off. Viego went back to base. There's the disengaged barrel. Okay, yeah, mega fight. Should be pretty easy. There's the dunk, obviously. With Ezreal, with Viego, with Gragas, it is tough to dunk them in the crater because of all of that mobility. So you don't want to trap your team in it either with the brand ultimate. Yeah, solid though. We got the objective. Now we can push mid lane. We have HP war advantage. Gragas' bot lane. Now we go into the jungle. Hello, Viego. See this? In his face, in his face, in his face. That's a huge shield. He's pushing the lane. Activate the Herald. It's not the best Herald I've seen. It's not the worst Herald I've seen. It's just the Herald of time and space. Wave is catching up here. We do have the E. I don't like it purely because the bot lane are going to be retracting here, so you just don't want to die. I feel like we could have maximized this Herald a little bit better, but as long as you're getting 1 turret with it, that's absolutely fine. I do think we could have held it for a bit longer, but that's okay. Take all the camps away. You could, of course, control your camps, so we see the Viego on the bottom side. Now we can do the red for our team. Oh, not quite. 1 more minute until it's for the team. You watch your team here and look at the difference between all the other videos in this, all the other games in this video, compared to now. The guy does this, red, Raptors towards team. He doesn't go Raptors, red, Krugs, away from team. He goes towards his team so he can join them. He doesn't go farming and worry too much about this. He's looking to shadow the push of his teammates because they have the huge advantage. Get in their faces here. Volibear will take care of the bottom side. He has TP. Now we're in the team fight zone. We're not waiting. That's a free assist, isn't it? We're not waiting for our... well, we actually didn't get the assist. It wasn't free. We're not waiting for some arbitrary moment in time. We can win now, right? We can win now. Let's go. There's no reason for me to do this quadrant and be here. Shadow your actual win cons. Position yourself for the Baron. I like this. We can actually bait this. You know, you don't want to die. You just want to bait it and then engage on it. We do have TP. Gragas is moving. Right, don't die here. Play it smart, play it smart, play it smart. Peel the Kiana. There's a Jarvan. Onto the Kiana. She does a disengage. Oh, what the hell is that hitbox? Just force him here. Obviously, now you don't want to lose the Baron. That's the downside. Volibear did not TP. That is the downside to this play. But you still have a big enough lead as long as you got good gold resets. You see the Volibear rotating. And this is a little bit there it is. So if Kiana goes too deep, now we can be the front line and dunk. We separate the Brand from his team, from his squad. We get the kill. And now, of course, you can either go straight up full for the Baron, clean up the fight and push waves. It's as you wish, really. Ezreal's doing a lot of damage at this point. Volibear's going to TP for that. We like that one. Oh, the Jinx ult just misses. Viego gets a kill onto the Karma. Ults out, respaces. Yeah, Jinx is a little too low, so now we just need to try and get their base. So I'm just going through this quickly because obviously this changes from game to game. Don't be careful here. Be careful here. Jarvan! Well, that's a second mistake. Tick, 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 tick. Tick, tick. There you go. Don't do that. Everybody base. Everybody come out of base. Set up for the soul. Now you, of course, haven't set up for the soul because you're dead. And this is where throws happen, man. That Jarvan could have easily thrown this game. Now you're like, well, team, why are you dying here? Well, you don't get to have the high ground here because you died there. If you didn't die there, you'd all be here. And you'd end the game on it. And honestly here, give them this. Everyone just go to the Baron. Just give them that dragon, pitiful dragon, do the Baron. And then everyone just siege the hell up and end, right? But the Jarvan threw it. Jinx kills Brand. And now Jarvan is able to show up in time. But do not, again, results-based it. It's nice that everybody rotated here. We get the soul point. Oh, beautiful EQ through the wall there to kill the knockup. Beautiful dunk on the Ezreal bonus flash through. We'll have EQ up again very, very shortly. There it is. Make sure you use your W for damage, absorption, and damage itself. And keep auto-attacking. One more Q! Unlucky. Wait, EQ, can we hit it? Can we hit the flag of destiny? Oh, there it is. Smite. Good job. Big difference between the Emerald one where he didn't smite. Remember on the top lane? He just didn't smite. Here, use that smite, get the kill. That'll be an inhib. They're going to do it again. I don't think we need to rinse and repeat too much, but just so you have closure to show that I'm not bullshitting you about how we're playing this game. Jarvan is dead, though, unfortunately. Just as long as your deaths are always, as we say for the Baus in the US, good deaths. Well, nothing. For sure, everybody played it good and well. All right. Amazing. We just somehow got to 25 minutes. Okay, so Volibear is up in base here. Now Gragas is out of position. Let's see this last fight. How can we win it? We have such a big gold lead at this point. I mean, it's 5k. It's not huge, but it's big enough. There's the EQ backline. Ezreal, there you go. Beautiful. Look at this guy by himself, man. Beautiful fight from the jump. He's completely... nice ult again. Just completely zoned their entire team. Completely. Once Gragas was out of position, didn't peel it because he doesn't need to. We have the Karma, we have the Hui. He just goes straight backline, survives, thrives, dunks, and kills. And they FF because that's GG. Really, really great example of how you need to juggle from start to beginning to close games, to accelerate games, to deny enemy junglers, and to get master tier. There are many ways to carry in the jungle, and that's because there are many different kinds of champions. So in this video, I want to go over the 3 different ways you can 1v9 from the jungle and become that jungle difference. But we're going to do it so that you see every kind of way, whether it's a level 1 cheese invade, whether it's just full clearing, whether it's ganking and fisting, whatever you might want to play, whatever you do play, there is a possibility for you to be the jungle div, and no matter what MMR you play. And so we will start off with the first game here. I figured we go with the level 1 Fiesta nonsense, map control jungler versus predator, Don't worry, the next game will have what happens when you overcommit a little bit, but you are doing more standard jungling things, and then the last one obviously will add in all of the missing information that the first two don't have. So you can see here we have a red side Bel'Veth. We're against an Ivern. Yes, Ivern is a little bit, you can't complain about things when you get invaded because that's what Ivern likes to do as well. We do have an elongated, stressful level 1. Not a fan of these things at all. Personally, I never do them, but if you are someone who likes to actually go ahead and fight like this, you can get benefits. But ultimately, your question is, okay, well, this is just randomness, right? How do I carry and beat jungle difference when my game plan is thrown out the window? When all of this nonsense happens, maybe I didn't even intend for it to happen. Well, in this case, the Ivern does sacrifice himself to nature. Bel'Veth loses her blue buff and now has to go after starting her wolves all the way over to the red quadrant. Here's the thing though, from Bel'Veth's perspective, you don't know if Ivern's gonna go from bottom to top or top to bottom. So all we do is we ensure we control our topside quadrant, keep that sequencing nice, go and have a look for that top scuttle. If Ivern shows up, always punish that mistake, process that information and go, okay, now I know what to do. She uses her body to burn the flash of the top laner and then goes back to base. Why? Because the Ivern is now going to be in a bit of a stressful situation. He has to try and match you in some capacity. You have advantage of having based, and you're going to maximize your experience. By that I mean the wolves that you took have respawned, so you get to take those. You get to take your Grump and get that off the map. You get to look and maybe take the bottom scuttle if it's available. And yes, you see the Ivern ganking bottom lane, but then you do one of my most favorite moves if you're in this situation. You absolutely must head to Virkayu.gg. Not only do I have a free jungle improvement resource, I also have a dedicated program with jungle video courses, jungle coaching, coaching classes, a jungle VOD library, special weekly content you'll see nowhere else. All of this available through a premium jungle Discord, which is highly active, a huge community that help each other climb using my jungle program and courses. As we have seen by everybody hitting their peak rank goals in Split 1 and Split 2 of Season 14 as fast as possible. So to climb faster than everybody you know and to jungle diff every game you play, head to Virkayu.gg or click the link in the description below. If you cannot rotate to the bottom lane scenario, your bottom lane are dead as they always are, and your real fight really isn't with, the bottom lane of the Ivern, it's with you. In this particular gameplay that we're covering, you are talking about predator junglers who need no help, who need nobody to keep them alive and allow them to actually carry games. And the Bel'Veth has done that by the following: creating maximized camp experience, making sure there is still lane impact, pushing the enemy jungler off of anything that might be contested, and then creating spacing such that she can take the respawn topside quadrant and let the game develop. Sit back, watch what the Ivern does, watch what the map gives you, and when you see them show up, you rotate over, you snack a kill, and now all the grubbies belong unto you. And that's really the goal here. If you can offset the cheese and the randomness from these kinds of beginnings, you very much will be the jungle diff from your team's perspective. Because remember, jungle diff is subjective. If you spam gank your bottom lane, your top laner is getting ganked by the enemy jungler, the top laner thinks, hey, my jungler sucks, Bel'Veth is ganking bottom lane, and the enemy jungler is a jungle div. It's a bit of a subjective reality. However, for this video, it's about how can your whole team recognize your greatness, and also by extension just give you an absolute boatload of LP. Now you would have seen the Bel'Veth do the scuttle to do the grub to make sure she gets the truest of true forms when she goes back to base. Here, of course, the idea is go to the bottom side, you got the respawn wolves again, you got the respawn Grump again, you got the respawn blue buff, and you have your bottom lane that are looking like they might need a little bit of assistance, both mentally and physically. Although most of the time ADCs need help using the toilet, but that's besides the point. Try your best here to gank first and then do camps if it's available. Do your camps and then gank if that's what you need to wait for. Wait for the enemy jungler to show up and counter gank them. Really, this is again about let the game develop, see what you are actually required to do. Don't force a gank if the enemy jungler's there and you can farm beforehand. Likewise, don't farm when you should be ganking. Now, sometimes you will die, the patience of the Viceroy pays off, but it's okay because you are Bel'Veth, you're 2-1-2, the gold is more useful on you than on anybody else, and this allows you an opportunity. That's always the thing you gotta think about with jungling. You wanna be the jungle difference? You wanna know how to jungle at a high level? You wanna climb all the way to your ranked peak by the end of Season 14? You gotta understand this one singular principle. Whether you make a great play, a bad play, or the enemy does also a bad or a good play, the answer to the question, what opportunities arise, will be the thing that gets you through the next phase. The Bel'Veth says, well, I died, but that means topside quadrant and counter jungling is available to me. It's not good I died, but because I did and I happen to be in this situation, how can I make the best of it? Well, I guess I can counter jungle and make the Ivern feel a little bit more like a twig. And here's what's very important. Do I need to take the whole top side quadrant and then fall back to my blue side quadrant into the grubs? Or is there a play available to me in the top lane perhaps? Can I gank something from this counter jungling angle? That's one of the greatest things that good junglers recognize. Yes, I'm doing this one thing, but it gives me a great angle of approach to do an even better thing. As such, top lane falls. You get full back to your red, go back to base, and now of course we have true form, we have itemization spike, the grubs are respawning. How can I best allow myself to create Briar such that these are free? By that I mean you can't just go straight to the grubs and then complain, my laners don't rotate. Create the Briar you need for the objective, or the objective is probably something you shouldn't be doing if you cannot at all. Now after you do these grubs, you see, okay look, the Pyke is ganking the top laner, it's a 2v1, I don't really feel like rotating to that, that's not good for me. You fall back to your Krugs, you let your top laner die, you wait for the play to end, you wait for the enemy support to run away, and then you go back in if the enemy top laner overstays, which of course they always do. I took the grubs and didn't show up, I guess I can push this wave. Oh no, I'm dead. Of course the Pyke did rotate back because he's a human being with functioning eyes, however, you're still way too strong in a PvP sense for anyone to do anything. And all of this was from a random start, you lost your blue buff, your secret sync was compromised, your level 5 and level 6 were delayed, and yet here we are with ease being the jungle diffy. Alright, the next phase here is very important. You got a dragon up, you've got a herald up, you suddenly look up and you go, wait a second, why does my ADC have like 1,000 deaths? What the hell is going on bot lane? Your shoes are only useful if you actually wear them when you go outside. Not the best example considering Bel'Veth doesn't really have legs, but this will be a reoccurring thing we look at in all of the games in this video. How can we then use our lead to translate it to victory in a few different ways? The Bel'Veth predatorial playstyle means, alright, control my camps, control my quadrants, yes. I don't know why I just clapped, I just did. And then you can go into the enemy jungle and always try and reposition them. A rat in a box that you have on your ship in the middle of the ocean is a rat that you know the location of. If you open the box and let the rat run around everywhere, you know people are gonna get bit, and that's never really been good in human history. So treat the enemy jungler much like a rat. If I constrain the Ivern to the top quadrant and the Herald, that allows me to take all his camps, gank and kill his bottom lane, take the objective, continue taking my quadrant, get an early level 11, no downside for me because I know where the Ivern is and I know where the Ivern is trapped. And that's the same for the enemy jungler throughout every game that you ever play. Now, you're well and truly in the mid game at this particular stage, you got 2 items, you are fed. The biggest problem I see in most MMRs here, the bad habit, is to keep farming in the wrong direction. They'll do, Raptors red Krugs when your team is sieging mid lane, trying to actually push and hit turrets. Turret damage is the biggest telltale sign of a good jungler and a Bone Void level jungler getting 45, although I will say since I told him that, the guy's winning at 90% win rate and has multiple thousand damage to turrets. There is a correlation there, I guarantee it. However, in games where you have ridiculous teammates who make clowns look like serious people, sometimes you just have to sacrifice your mid lane turret and say, right, top lane's pushing, let's just go ahead and grab a kill quickly, snack something to decompress the map, and I'll get true form as well. If you happen to be a Nocturne, an Evelyn, a Rengar, or Kha'Zix, anything like that, this same play can work. You're just looking to offset a bit of that pressure where they just opened up your mid lane. Now, usually around this moment, if you have been taking dragons or the enemy has been taking dragons, this is what I like to call the third dragon fight. It's really who's gonna win this game moment. You have, obviously, the grubs get taken twice by yourself, maybe you also get the herald, and the enemy team takes 2 dragons, that's your trade-off. However, you don't really want to get into a soul point versus Baron discussion, so you really want to be as strong as possible to fight for that 3rd dragon. However, here there's no dragon, but the timer is about correct, and so Bel'Veth heads towards the mid lane to try and, rectify the loss of the turret, and a big old-fashioned fight ensues. The idea here is to always use your mechanics and your lead to come out ahead, to win. But if you have enemy counterparts that are way more fed than you or just able to outcomp you because your team are not the best players, sometimes you will die. However, in these situations, all I can really suggest to you is mutually assured destruction. Ensure as many people go down with you as possible such that no one really gains anything. It's really just a stalling moment. And if you're behind or you've got losing teammates, that stalling moment is good. If you're really far ahead, it's not so great, but at least from a team comp point of view, you guys don't lose an objective, you don't lose any more turrets, and really it's just a bit of a reset. This won't be what happens in some of the other games later in this video, so if you are looking for different scenarios, we'll get that covered as well. Upon respawn, the same logic applies. Should I farm my camps and let the map develop? Or is there a pick and an action I can make before I do that? Hey, there's a pick, I'll take it. And right after this pick, this is where you, a bad jungler, would compromise yourself. If you're a good jungler and you're not compromising yourself, then you can ignore the previous statement. But the pick you just made has to translate into positive map pressure. Maybe not always an objective, kill conversion ratio, that's what we want, but it is something where you've got to say, look, we got numbers advantage. I'm a power manta ray, let's go. Push into the jungle, push the side waves, try and snack a turret. If the whole enemy team chases your top laner for whatever reason, push the turrets down mid and bot. If your whole team has been collapsed upon here and you're gonna lose, cut to the mid lane, push that one, cut through their jungle, push the top wave. Whatever you do, positive map pressure forward. And then of course, when you have used positive map pressure forward in any capacity whatsoever, a term I just basically say push the map, you're gonna have that dragon fight I mentioned. Look, at the end of the day, this is how it be. You have to end up doing PvP stuff. Sure, you can be a low damage Bel'Veth that goes ahead and split pushes and win games, but sometimes your team are gonna be so far behind, you still have to make at least 1 or 2 fights where you take over. This is the same from Vi jungle to Tryndamere jungle to Ivern jungle to Nidalee jungle to Bel'Veth. We all have to have a PvP moment where our golden experience is realized in the form of killing the enemy's assholes and then taking a Baron. That is what is required most of the time to win games. Now, in order to keep this as trim as possible, we will be jumping to the next game shortly. Just for the later stages, 20 to 30 minutes and so on, remember to keep that same ideology. Should I farm now and wait for my team to respawn and then push? Are my team being a distraction and therefore should I split push? Or should I just rotate goon squad and get a whole bunch of kills in team fight? Because that's what we're good at. Sometimes what you have to do is 1 out of the 3. Sometimes it's all 3. Understanding which one is basically how you learn how to close games after the mid-game moment. Fortunately, we have 2 more games to showcase to you different aspects of this. So now we will jump into a Volibear game where this Volibear is going to get 27 kills in Challenger against a Vi and against the enemy team. However, after the first full clear that we're witnessing, this bear ends up being Winnie the Pooh. Now, how this occurs, and my jungle friends, I need you to understand this. Jungle diffing on all planes of existence is difficult, but in this meta, mid lane roams are quite powerful. Death timers going up means that when ganks are done, they are done with a lot more power, but it's not only junglers, right? It's also supports, and very much so, mid laners. Prior into shove, into gank, cutting off scuttles, ruining junglers' lives, and you see this Yasuo does this. I'm seeing a lot of junglers and mid laners have these issues lately. Thus, always be aware of where the mid laner is, know what fights you can and cannot take, observe prior for the scuttle, and as always, if you can't take the scuttle, go back to base, swap sides. I know it sucks sometimes, but ideally, that's just what you gotta do. But if you start raptors like the Volibear, you can always just walk across and take that top scuttle, and if there's nothing else you can do, deport the enemy jungle, fall back to your respawn raptors at around 4 minutes, into your 4-minute 18, 4-minute 20 Krugs, reset, you can have the wolves and the grump available, and then you can look to do dragons, counter gank bot lane, do dragons, or move on up all the way and do all of that and grubs. That is how a high elo player would look more so at the map control situation here. However, we are all human and we get, well, most of us, and then we end up getting fisted and killed. But as you recall from the previous game, the best way to view this is, okay, well, that shouldn't have happened, but how can I make the best of this situation? Well, I got the respawn raptors and respawn Krugs and a top scuttle. Oh, and the Vi ends up dying to the Rel, which is kind of funny. So we eat the chicken, we squash the crab, we smoke the stones, and then we can move on down to the wolves and the grub. The Vi here knows, okay, look, the Volibear is going to have this second clear rotation power over me. Why don't I just go do the dragon? This is a dumbass play, and I don't know why she's doing it, but because the Volibear wouldn't have known at all what the Vi is doing other than, hey, I saw go to Grump and go down, this is really just, can I gank before she shows up if she's on her Krugs, and then can I get out of the situation? Now, we are able to snag 2 kills, as I said we could do if we got out ahead of the Vi. Problem is, the Vi was right there doing dragon. Also, the Yasuo had prior and rotated down, so we die again. However, as always, when you have a more standardized start and you have a few mistakes, again, the tempo control in this particular game is the most important thing. Keep your sequencing up, keep yourself equal or ahead in some capacity, either through gold or experience. You need that power juice. You cannot be 0-5-0. Control your mind, make the best of a shitty situation. You got 2 kills, you got 2 deaths, that's not so bad. And why I say that is because we have our topside quadrant respawning, we have the grubs available, and we're gonna be level 6. So, start the grubs, snack the grubs, ward the grubs. If the enemy jungler shows up, trust that you can beat them 1v1. If you cannot beat them 1v1, take whatever grubs you can and leave. Go back to your camps, please. Do not die for the Void McNuggets. However, if you've got a support rotating with you, you just enjoy. And now, instead of doing a blind full sequencing moment, you can see the way this game is developing. Yasuo with prior and roams, Vi's, actually in a decent spot. What we want to do is actually go ahead and swap over from full sequencing ideology to quadrant ideology. By that I mean, we did the grubs, we fall back to the red side, we take it. We then look, can I gank? Can I invade? Can I dive? Can I cut in for a dragon? Can I cut in for counter jungling? All of these questions before you full sequence your bottom side. And obviously, as you see, the Volibear sees greatness and gets himself even more kills. But if he didn't raise his eyes up and actually, looked up for those good plays, he would have full sequenced down and missed all these opportunities. And that's where the jungle diff comes in. A lot of you just don't keep your eyes up. A lot of you go blindly into the full sequencing. You don't start thinking about quadrants and then, hey, can I do something on the map? What's looking available to me? And that's very important. It's the best way to play when death timers are like this. You gotta keep people dead. And as always, when you get kills and people are dead for longer, always ask yourself better questions. What can I do while they're dead that I couldn't do if they were alive? If it's counter jungling, great. If it's a dragon, cool. Do what can be done, what must be done. And if they want to be dumb and really contest with you, just kill them again. When you're a strong fighting jungler and you're ahead like this, you really shouldn't be shying away from these skirmishes. And if you are something that is still not in the right frame to really be fighting here, just leave the dragon. If you can get it and get out, again, cool beans. Knowing your jungler in that scenario is probably the most important thing. That's why I'm speaking more generally about all of the different jungle styles you might have, because while these games showcase every way to jungle div, it will change the rules a little bit based upon what you play and what you're good at. However, despite this game going quite well, it's only 10 minutes, which means the early game isn't yet done. Now, I'm not always a fan here of full sequencing all the way down and putting yourself on the opposite side of the grubs that we want to snag again, but at the same time, the Asura has shown himself to be quite fed, and also he's roamed quite a lot. We also died twice to his rotations. So here the Volibear says, well, you know what, I'll give the Vi a few little hands that I'm 2 levels up. Let me just full sequence down. I can look at my quadrant rotation if there's anything for me to do. If there's nothing, I will finish the full clear. And then you can decide, do I just go ahead and gank bot lane and push that? Do I counter jungle if it's available? Or if they all want to fight mid lane, that's exactly what I want to do, especially as a Volibear, as anything that is this fed, honestly, you want to fight, you want to rotate, you want to say, right, that's it, everybody dies. If there are grubs available for you to snack again, please clean it up so you can at least get 4 for the mites. But jungle diffing does require one subtle difference here. It is, hey, I've killed them all. Everybody's dead for an extra 4 seconds. What can I do while they're dead that I couldn't do while they're alive? Well, push the wave, take some plates, take their camps, and then I can very easily take those 2 grubbies and once more reassess. Do I fall back to my red side quadrant? Do I just take the raptors and then rotate to a fight? Or do we just do all of those things and maybe die a little bit and say, oopsies? Now, this game is a little bit different than the Bel'Veth one. Why? Because even though our team aren't inting as much as, say, the Kai'Sa was, macro-wise, we need to be a bit more everywhere. We need to be a bit more, I'm gonna need 27 kills to win this game. Everybody's fighting all the time. Fortunately, I'm really fed. So we use what I call here the swoop method. That's basically where you go side to side on the map, taking your camps as you go, but always willing to cut in for the fights as necessary, and then pushing into their jungle and always shadowing where your team wants to be, where the enemy might be, so that you can pounce. You can make the picks, you can win the fights, you can take the dragons, you can take their camps, you can be from bottom to mid to top in no time, and then you can fall back to your quadrant yet again. You're seeing exactly what I mean by watching this footage, but all I really want you to think about is, look, I really kind of just want to farm and have a chill macro into the mid game, but my team, they don't want that, the enemy team doesn't want that, and at this point, you're the Thanos. This is true jungle difference, understanding that with a click of your fingers, you can actually just dominate and close games quickly. You stall out your games because you don't do what this Volibear just did. You don't maximize all of the power you have. You go farming and maybe split pushing a little bit when you could just rotate and absolutely beat everybody up. And you can see how this ideology leads to great dominating mid games. The extended sequence, you guys remember that term? Staying out longer than you normally would, even if you got a lot of gold, because you don't have to base to have impact. You are still way farther ahead than anybody else could imagine. So after all that, he did his red side quadrant, he rotated to more fights, he said, guys, can you calm down? But he doesn't just go back to base then, he says, all right, people are dead, what can I do? Get into the jungle, push the top wave, take yet another turret, do another dive, eventually counter jungle again, and then we can go back to base. It is an exhausting transition to go from a 40-minute game to a 17, 18-minute game while doing this. But it is the biggest thing possible, and the same thing from this game as the last game. Eyes up, my friends, look for the plays, don't put your head in the sand and go, well, you know, I'm a jungle differing here, I got the most gold. Don't I look great with my lovely KDA, and your team are dying, wiping, and you're complaining saying, team, what did you do? Why didn't you wait for me? No, why wasn't your ass in the fight? Of course, what most junglers can bring to you, basically I think any class, although there's more risk depending on what you're playing, is alright, now we've gone back to base, now we're really far ahead. The enemy team will have fed members that try to push their luck beyond vision line. You want to wait for that moment, you want to pounce and kill them in that moment, and then you want to do what I like to call the shove and cut. Shove the side wave that you just got from killing somebody. If someone joins you in your team, fare you well. Go into their jungle, steal camps, and then cut in for the mid lane fight where someone else is also pushing beyond vision line. This allows so much domination in the mid game into the late game because the enemy team never has the ability to group up, set their feet, and actually hold onto scale. Creates a lopsided environment where, you know, you have your team pushing in turrets tier 2, tier 3, and the enemy are still trying to get tier 1s, and that's when you flank from behind, great angles all the time, shoving and cutting, using your power curve to actually just eradicate people. And you know how I mentioned the word lopsided right there? That's because you see the enemy top lane is trying the same thing. Well, if the Volibear is gonna kill my laners and push the other waves, I might as well try and force force them to come and catch me on the top side. Fortunately, when you're this fed, that should be a pretty easy thing to do. If the enemy top laner is so fed, you cannot try and wave clear a little bit and just hold. You've created a stall for your team at the very least. However, in this case, we are able to kill the Camille. Push the wave a little bit. Don't push beyond vision line. The dragon is spawning on the bottom side. And here's where we make a little bit of a mistake. Obviously here we are going to need to fight for this dragon. We're gonna need to use our body again. Now you might think, well, the Camille's inting and everybody else is basically just dying a lot and I can just control the game. That is true, but you know, when they group up and you overstay and don't spend your gold, the gold lead you have isn't really tangible. So at some point you gotta do the Meteos from like 2014 where he's going back to base on Krugs, you know, sees his bottom lane fighting and goes, well, they shouldn't be dying there. Oh dear, there's an enemy jungler. Doesn't cancel his base. Says, bro, I got 3k in the pocket. I need to go buy and then we can fight. But if you're gonna fight here and die, you know, there isn't actually anything I can do about it. At some point, you might have to acknowledge this. Now, the Volibear is pretty damn strong, pretty damn good, and obviously gets something, but the fact of the matter is you still die, you still give shutdowns, and then you gotta trust your team. So in this particular case, the trusting of the team and our death were good deaths. So I'm talking a bit dramatic there, but I have seen a lot of scenarios in this exact kind of way where you die, your team dies before you or just after you, and now maybe you lose a Baron, you definitely lose a Dragon. So I want you to balance your risk assessment here. It's great that the Volibear moved on over, they had a great fight, he died for the cause, and his team were able to clean up and then shove an inhib. That's great. In this particular case, it's fine. And that's the twist here. You didn't think I was gonna say that, but in this case, it's fine because we understood those things. However, in your lower elo games, in your diamond games, emerald games, bronze games, your teams won't always be this efficient and they might all wipe. So balance the decision of, do I have itemization where I should base and then contest the fight and the dragon, or should I rotate to the scenario right now? Can we actually win it? I cannot answer that for you in every game, only you can. You gotta know your champion, know your team comp, and this will come and get better with experience. Obviously in these high elo games, there's a little more trust. Most of the time anyway. But as with the other game, you see the pick will lead to a Baron, which will lead to more picks, a lot more kills, boom, 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 27 kills, all match histories will be linked in the description, so you can actually go ahead and confirm that these games did in fact happen. They did, I'm not lying to you, they're all high elo. Well, on that note, let's jump to this Lee Sin and Diana game. What the hell happens if you need to be a little bit more proactive and things just kind of go your way? How do you keep up the pressure so that the enemy jungler can't actually recover? Because we saw the Bel'Veth deal with the randomness, we saw the Volibear deal with a few deaths and come back very, very easily. How is Lee Sin, can you prevent that happening? How can you prevent the Diana from just farming and scaling? Well, first and foremost, we full clear down. Diana recognizes, yo, I cannot get that scuttle crab, so cuts to the top side, as I said, and does that. From the Lee Sin's perspective, because she didn't go to the top scuttle crab just through good tracking and application of jungling principles, you actually see her, which means you can extrapolate, always very important in these games, extrapolate where are they gonna go next. And now, yes, maybe you can just damn well gank bottom lane, that's great, but you're gonna give the Diana free real estate top side on the top lane gank and the top scuttle. Don't like that. Cut her off. Now go jungle vs jungle. If you want to take control of games, it's always the jungle vs jungle fighting match that you gotta think about. Get in her face, you're forced a 2v2 that you know damn well she doesn't want to do, and honestly, she should just leave. Let your top laner or mid laner die in these 2v2s that you don't win, control your own experience, do exactly what the Bel'Veth and the Volibear did. Show a little bit of restraint in these moments until such time that you don't have to. But if you are the Lee Sin or whatever champion in this case, you gotta be mechanically good enough on your champion and you gotta know the matchups. So if you know, hey, we can win this 2v2, I can win any 2v2 because I'm a god, then please, go ahead, be god. If you're more like a duck that has his legs in the place of his wings, perhaps this isn't the fight you want to take and you can just gank the bottom lane and ensure you reset and control your full sequencing. But of course, this particular game here is about control. Now, a couple things I don't like about what the Lee Sin does here is we do have the second sequence domination. We have itemization, we have the kills. The Diana's gonna be sequencing in the same direction. So instead of doing the Krugs and then say counter ganking through the lane, I love this play by the way, if you can do what exactly the Lee Sin did, get a couple kills early, base, do your second full sequence, and you know the enemy jungler's pathing to the same side, they're going to assume you're going to do the dragon, you're going to do the grubs. What if you just say, look, intuition, extrapolation, I know you're going to gank my pushed up bottom lane, slide into the lane bush, counter gank them, get a triple kill. You saw the cutaway there from one of my Zyra games. What I don't like is actually cutting in for the dragon knowing Diana's right there, even if you might have to give it up or force a fight. It feels a lot like a bit of an unnecessary play where we're forcing something, and even though that's great, if I'm the Diana here, I'm just saying, well, if you want to do the dragon and cut out your Krugs, I'm going straight for the grubs and I'm taking those, getting level 6, killing top lane if I can, and if you commit to the dragon and killing my bot lane, I'm taking those third spawn camps on the top side. That's what she should be doing. However, because the Diana then reveals herself to the Lee Sin knows what's going on. Yes, we can do our Krugs, but once again, the Diana gave a story. Hey, I'm here, I'm going up to the grubs. If you want to control games, jungle denial, jungle boxing match. Run over, kill her, take the grubs. It's that simple. Why give it for free? There's no reason to. I'm in control here. Both times that Diana lacked nuance in her tracking, both times that Diana just basically revealed her story and invited the Lee Sin to take her out and take all of the stuff she actually wanted. And the Bel'Veth and the Volibear were able to very easily navigate this stuff by not forcing those things, and they had the benefit of being paid off later. The Diana makes these mistakes, and the Lee Sin says, no. Now, of course, one of my absolute favorite things of all time is getting level 6 on the grubs, either through sequencing or these fightings, it doesn't really matter, and then saying, well, because I know you started topside now, I'm going to invade you, not let you get your red for free, and kill you again. Obviously, pay attention to top lane and mid lane and try not to die. You do see in high elo these limit tests, and obviously the lane is rotating a bit more so. But it's the aggressive play. Yes, I have the lead, I control you, you get nothing for free. However, if you take this stuff on the top side and you do all the goodness, where's he going next? Well, to the bottom side. And at this point, all you have to do is not give a free counter jungling. So yes, he takes his top side, but then he uses his strength at this point just to cut across and say, look, I'm doing the dragon. And the Diana's like, well, I guess I have to go to the top side now. And the Lee Sin can basically say, look, I'm either going to follow you again and kill you after the dragon, or I'll trust my laners to do that while I do my bottom side camps. You pick your poison, it's absolutely okay, just do not allow yourself to be counter jungled. Although you could in theory use the rat in the box analogy, especially if your laners aren't going to rotate and say, yo, Diana, take my blue side, I'll take yours, kill your bot lane and snowball that. That is also absolutely okay as long as you're back in time for the grubs. And as you can see, the Diana does a little bit of brainless behavior, tilted behavior, because the Lee Sin read her story that she gave away for free, and she dies again. Now obviously in these particular games, this is where the focus is, right? On these first 9, 10 minutes, 11 minutes, maintaining this control, tracking, cutoff, nothing for free, and just ensuring that you also keep up your own farm, your sequencing, your quadrants, because you have a lead that they can never overcome unless you do something dumb. You know, it's like having a 20-point lead in the NBA in the first half. As long as you keep that at 20, you win. Even if they scored the same amount of points as you in the second half, it doesn't matter. Likewise in any sport, really. So it's the same for League here. As long as you keep your lead, your 2-level lead, your 3k gold lead, they're going to be in a deficit. Now, where League is different is some champions get better with gold, and that 3k gold lead will actually shrink just as a byproduct of their stats. Think Kales and things like that. Which means you do have to maintain a certain amount of pressure to actually close the game out, but for the mid game of this one, it wasn't really that nuanced. It very much was the Bel'Veth principles and the Volibear principles. All of these methods: get in their jungle, get in their face, force the fights, push the turrets, get the dragons, get the heralds. You're not playing around. Your sequence is a baseline, but if you can go ahead and do other things after you kill somebody, please do. Don't kill and go farm in the mid game with this lead. Push, push, kill, push. Force an FF, get the jungle diff in your chat, make the streamers rage and blame everything other than themselves and perhaps the fact that they had a bad game and aren't jungling very well at the moment. Make the enemy laners cry your name at night when they just want you to be on their team. These are the 3 different kinds of ways you can jungle diff in this meta. I hope all these principles help you. If you're someone that is maybe struggling to actually get these leads and you always find yourself behind, click this video to learn the steps on how to recover no matter what champion you play.